Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You are tuning in to MEA x FEAI Grand Fest 1. This is going to be the round of 64. And I know you guys have been waiting for so long for the match, but unfortunately, Lafukabi weren't able to show up on time given the fact that we have rules and regulations. They were a little bit late, so they are going to be giving away 1 point to Team Hummingbirds. Yeah, those are the two teams who's going to be playing in this best of 3 series. So this is going to be important for Lafukabi now. As you can see onto the casting deck, I'm going to be here alongside me. It's going to be Sinryu. How are you doing?
Looking at our pictures, I feel we are doing really great, right? We both are smiling, and smile is the way for an event like this, right? It is the Grand Fest featured by Mizo Esports Association with collaboration with, Federation of Esports Association India, of course. And man, I already was casting the preliminary rounds, the round of 256, right, where I had to cast, stream, and everything. But this round, where I have somebody casting with me, it definitely feels a lot better, much great. But again, the teams too, right, Debbie? We have
Yeah.
Lafkabi versus, it was Hummingbird, right?
Yeah.
If we talk just about Hummingbird, the nature of Hummingbird, right? They really like to fly fast, move fast. And I really want to see if they can do that against Lafukabi, though, because given Lapukapi's reputation, it precedes them, right? Why don't you talk about that?
I mean, you could say that Lafukabi has been a known team. They have been out there for so long, up to the fact that, they were the team that won the first Don't Say tournament. So, yeah, they are back here now into action. So, it's finally very good to see them coming back into the tournament zone again in this particular tournament here. But as you can see, Shinru, we have already jumped into the drafting phase, and Hummingbirds are going to be having the second pick, and Lafukabi will be on to the first pick here. The Kalea banned away, and the 1-1 also taken away. Unlike uh, the previous games that we have in this round of 64, it's going to be 10 bans. So this is where you're going to be starting to sign. You're going to be showing what you can do. You're going to be showing what kind of composition you really, really want to go for. So the players are actually more constricted than ever. But what do you think about the bans coming from both of these teams?
It's just 2 bans so far. Still, yet a lot of heroes are open, right? But again, like you mentioned, this is gonna be 10 bans, and the teams have to level up. They have to step up their game, and I feel, Lafkabi, I believe in them because I've seen them, I've casted for them for a long while, and I believe even with, this bit of change lineup, I see a lot of new players in Lafkabi now that I've did before, so I feel they're still on par with that, previous lineup. Maybe even better. They can prove themselves. But again, Hummingbird 2, I haven't really seen them too much, but we never can, just negate that underdog teams, that can just come and surprise us. Also, this game, they have 1 point advantage, right? They have the match point. Lafukabi, they're trailing behind. They had to just give 1 point away. So I feel if they can just take the game away, it will be a huge upset for a lot of people out there watching this game, supporting their favorite teams. But again, talking about the bans again, you can see, right, the Glue as well as the Kadita being banned. I think both are really strong in their individual lanes. These heroes have really annoying presence in the map. Kadita with the insane burst, and Glue with that, split, grab. He'll grab you until, like, you're not dead, right? So it's gonna be really, really annoying with that pick. They're kind of keeping it open. But again, a few pointers before we just move back to the draft once again. Guys, this MEA x FEAI Grand Fest is not only about, mobile 5v5. It's also about, there are multiple tournaments that are gonna happen. It's BGMI, FC, PC, and mobile, both chess and Dota 2. So you need to watch all of them because every game has, a different hype to them, different, fun elements to them. But again, then you can see again, right? This game will also have a little bit. Sorry about the noise, but again, this game will also have a little bit LAN on the October 16, 17, and 18. So far, the dates have not been confirmed, but again, they will be confirmed really soon. It should happen in our Dengtuama Hall. So again, Debbie, we should quickly go back to the draft once again. You can see the YSs as well as the Lapu Lapu being picked from both the teams. What do you think the draft starting already?
I would say if Malsom likes Hanabi, I'm more of a Yisensin kind of person, So I'm really excited that Lapu Kabi are the one picking away the Yisensin, and of course the Lapu Lapu too. These two are the heroes that have been consistent onto the first pick most of the time, and it's always been a helpful want at that. And you are always gonna be seeing them in the opposite teams, and it's actually very good to see that teams are very aware that they have to pick for this. They have to go directly for the important heroes that they go for. But the thing that I'm really concerned about Lafukabi is that they are the one actually banning out the glue, where they can have been different heroes that they could take away. But nevertheless, it can really work out because they do want something that can be a menace into the XP side. Because in this kind of scenario, in this kind of current meta, you are going to be seeing a lot of heroes that have their momentum if they have a good time into the XP lanes most of the time. So now that the CC is picked off by Lafukabi here, very understandable. You really want to play the CC against the Lapu Lapu because you do not want him to go out of the lane. You want to bully him into the lane as much as possible. But the thing about Lapu Lapu and the CC combination is that it's more reliant on how your skill slots are gonna be. So it kind of depends on the mechanics of the players too. So there is no deciding from the draft in the experience as well. But as you can see, the picks and the bans coming through for both of these teams. Brusco directly going for the Baxia, which is definitely gonna be going into the room because Yisensin cannot go into another lanes. But a very very solid marksman picked up by the side of Hummingbirds. The Granger is also a very good hero to go against, and of course you have to ban away the Iristal when you want to have the Granger who have a good time into the lane, and you wanna play for this hero most of the time.
Yep. And with the ban of these two heroes, what other options are open? Hanabi? Because I just remember
No
Hanabi,
way,
being
no
mentioned.
way.
Hey, we cannot just negate Hanabi. It's Malsum favorite hero, and he's also waiting for that Starlight to just come up next month. So hey guys, if your favorite hero is Hanabi, don't feel like she's a dark system hero, that guys, because Hanabi is a
Nah.
really strong hero in the late game. It's very difficult to catch her because of her immunity, and also difficult to burst it down with the damage that she deals. But again, I think Hanabi might not be the best option, but in the banning section, Farsa is definitely a very good option, right? Given the range that she has, it's really difficult to actually mark her down, and also the damage output that she has is really insane. You can also really see that the little bit of understanding from both the teams, right? With the Zetian ban, the Fanny was an instant choice for a ban for Team Hummingbird, so they read it really well, and also they pick up a Fredrin against a YSS Lee So this is gonna be a utility versus marksman slash assassin jungle here. So different strats from both the teams, right, Debbie?
Yeah, I gotta be honest with you, Shindu, because this is not a really a fighting kind of game, because you already saw the CC, the Yi Senshin, and also the Boxia, right? And yeah, it's so late for actually it's very very late for Lafukabi to ban away the Lancelot. And I'm also surprised that Hummingbird did not pick up the Lancelot, because the Lancelot was a very very solid choice here for them into the jungle especially. And it's not really a good way to pick up the Fredrin when you already have a damage or healing reducer onto the opponent's side. So this is gonna be a hard game for the Fredrin into the early stages. But oh my goodness, absolute mid gap.
Mhm.
This is what you're gonna be seeing. Jozo on his favorite hero,
Yeah,
that Selena's
nature.
gonna be picked away. So this is definitely a comfort for Lafukabi, but understandable, right? Because this is a match
Mhm.
point for Hummingbird. So I would really love to see how it's going to be working out, because they also make up the lack of magic damage into the mid lane for the Nathan that's been picked away for the gold lane side.
Mhm. I do like the Selena pick. I do understand that this is a strong or signature pick for Zozo. But again, there is too much sustain as well as CC, stun available from the other team too, right? It's not very easy to burst them down. But again, you can see there are two targets for this Selena. That is going to be the Grandeur as well as the Xavier. But I feel they have a very good mobility, and if they opt for a Purify, it might be very difficult for the Selena to come actually online. But at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, I feel it goes for the team too. They need to play on Purify because there's a lot of CC that can come from the side of Hummingbird. And given the fact that this might be a match point for Hummingbird. Their draft is looking good, I would say, so far. I like their draft, but again, execution is what gonna matter in this game. So we'll soon head into the land of dawn. But Debbie, what do you think about both these drafts that have been locked by these teams?
I'm gonna be honest because Lafukabi have the better draft in my opinion because the Xavier last pick coming through from the side of Hummingbird is not really gonna be doing the work into the early stages because they kind of need a hero that can control the early game, but they have also banned away the Farsa, so the choices were actually very limited. No Zusin, no Farsa, no Wujitan as well. So I feel like they could have gone for the Novaria because the Novaria can have work with the lane clearings that she have also and the ability to be independent most of the time and rotate around the map as fast as possible too. But I will never know because like we already mentioned, execution is what's gonna be what's gonna be the most important part. And of course when we talked about execution, the XP laner is what we have to be focusing on. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's go into the second game actually. Second game for this best of 3 series, Lafukabi going against Hummingbird. Hummingbird already have one match into their hands, so this is going to be a match point for them. Will Lafukabi be able to drag this game to the third game?
It's going to be really interesting to watch. And what's really interesting is the fact that Debbie, I see two players, they're IGN. One is Brusco and another one is Fabian. So it just reminds me of MPL Indonesia, right? But again, the stun actually, the Whistle Arrow connects. Also, the Whistle Trap, the bit of revitalize already force out of Manny on the Garukhacha. So it's a big resource burn, I would say, right before the first turtle even spawns and just first bit into the game. And Zozo has, shown his presence in the map. So I think this Selena might do a lot more than just, stunning people. She wants to dive in, but at the same time, like you mentioned, the mid control is really going to be important, and Hummingbird did not have the luxury of the early game damage. Once again, the stun connects twice, and the flick could play first blood from Zozo. That's why he is known as the king of the mid laners, arguably. But again, we need to see a lot more from him. At the same time, another Abyssal Arrow this time does not connect, but farm is what's going to be prioritized by both the junglers right now. You can see they're really going for the creeps. But again, Baxia being a bit active, might be 2D, but okay, he should get out from there.
Absolutely. I menace Jojo is onto this Selena into the early phases, especially because he's been able to rotate all over the place and give out pressure here. And when you put together a Selena and an annoying mate together with a Baxia who rolls around the map, that's gonna be spelling pressure. But Manny.
Oh, Manny! Ashbourne just got him taken down with the help of Zozo, of course, with the Abyssal Arrow. Amazing presence by the Selena, but once again, she actually gets a stun as well as the Abyssal Arrow on the mid lane. I think with the no jungler availability from the side of, Hummingbird, there should be an easy turtle take, yes. And they also have the Retribution, so a purple bomb Grand Theft might be out there, but the rotation is already there, the Retribution available, and it's going to be an instant steal by the YSS. You can see Ashbourne might be a late game hero, but he's showing his presence in the early game, just like Zozo is doing.
Yeah, this is why I don't really like the fighting in this tournament here, in this game so far, because the draft coming up on Lafukabi is mainly, made to play against the Fredrin, and look at the XP level of this Fredrin too. Lynch is just level 4, he just got level 4, meanwhile Ashbourne is already level 6. This is gonna be dealing a huge amount of pressure for them, but Jojo onto the top lane, going in again.
Going in, but he'll also get out, also with the entropy being used, but once again there's another engage, another engage with a Priestess Wrath was used by Lynch, but again the AOG this time too just get missed out by a little bit of resistance. But again, look at the backline, there's gonna be Brusco going in onto the Xavier, getting taken down. Ashbourne gets punished, but so does Lynch, and that's gonna be 3-for-1 trade. You can see one more kill onto the bot lane. The Lapu this time gets punished by a 1v1 fight being won by the CC. You can see Reaper, right? Reaper doing really amazing. But this is a really fast game, or really aggressive early game coming in this match. Second match here, Debbie.
Yeah, absolutely true, because Lafukabi are winning all over the places, and they do have a scaling heroes onto their side too. They have 2 scaling heroes, which can possibly be the one that can, dish out the damage required for the late game. And already Hunter striked under 3 minutes onto the hands of a Yi Shin, but Manny in trouble again.
Trouble again, and Zozo with a killing spree. Man, this man needs to be stopped, otherwise this game might just go one-sided here, Debbie.
True, absolutely right, because he already got in the enchanted talisman also. So we're about to see a lot of pressure again. A lot of arrows will be popping up most of the time anywhere in any place. And mainly when you play as Selena, you really want to have that mid game pressure. And this is what he's doing right now. They have the pressure onto the map, and look at the stun.
Oh, Sun connects, and this good peel coming in from his team. You can see Lynch being the front line alongside
Wow.
Manny, but there's going to be a lot of zoning coming in for the second turtle, and another neutral objective into the favor of Team Lafukabi, and they're looking to invade, but I guess not. And they will just be content with the turtle, it seems.
The only good thing that's happening to Hummingbird as of now is the raw deaths onto Fabian here, and this might eventually be, their win condition, because they can play around the Grandeur and get him out of the lane into the mid phases so that he'll be able to stack and get the damage done. But then again, a lot of farm is already onto the hands of Asborn as well as Kel. These are the two scaling heroes that they have for the side of Lafukabi, and if they have this kind of goal lead for so long consistently, it's gonna be hard for Hummingbird to even try to have a comeback. Look at another stun Manny. He's not spread by Jojo most of the time. This is gonna be such an annoying game experience for them as of now, because Selena, when he have a lot of map advantage, it's just too much pressure.
Yeah, but look at the pressure from Reaper onto Manny. He also uses a curtain call, and he was trying to take him down, but that's a good catch. But again, the stun this time connects onto the Grandeur. He needs to be careful.
Wow.
Fabian, can he survive? Yes, he does, but the stun does connect from the Lapu Lapu. Not the Lapu Lapu, the YS. He was a little bit HP, but Zozo out of nowhere comes in with the flicker. But again, another Abyssal stun connects, and Reaper will be the one to take him down. But again, there's a taunt onto Zozo, and this time he has to say goodnight to himself. But again, he will be back soon. But again, right now the fight is between Ashmore and Manny. He will take him down, but again, he does not want to stop. Look at Lynch. He survives by a slither of HP, but not for too long. Reaper takes him down, and Martin still trying to survive. He does not have that bravest fighter, so he needs to recall, but the mid lane will not be exempted. All the first tier turrets have been taken down 6 minutes into the game. 5.9k goal lead already here, Debbie.
Yeah, this is absolutely a dominance coming up from the side of Lafukabi here. And of course, if we focus onto the XP leads coming through for Esborn onto this, he's in level 11 already. He's level 11 and he's been consistently farming. If you look at the stats also, he haven't been losing onto the farm and able to steal away all those crates, which means that he's gonna be always having the steal. Oh my goodness, that's something here.
Oh, there's nothing gonna be left after that. Like damage being dealt by the side of Lafukabi, right? You can see already the late game hero you mentioned dealing so much damage out here alongside Zozo, and that's another neutral objective being taken down. But look at the stun once again. Also being a menace, going in onto Martin, and so much damage once again. The abyssal arrow, the abyssal trap, and look at the dashes from Zozo. He still survives for a little longer, but the previous part will finally take him down, and a lot of damage being dealt onto Manny. He's still trying to survive. Helps gets out with the help of his AOG, but so far the fight has not stopped. Lynch in a tight spot, and he will not survive. Kel guns him down. And that's what happened when you bring a spear to a gunfight. You get gunned down, man.
Get gunned down, especially under this kind of situation here. The arrows, man, I should, Zozo has been performing so good onto this. Oh, never mind, that might be a little bit of scare misses, but it's just a tease. But yeah, there we go. We have those builds coming through, the brute force onto the hands of the CC already, which means that he will be able to sustain and stack out, and this is not going to be actually a good scenario for the side of Hummingbird too. Yeah, 2 that's already onto Fabian. It's not really good, but Manny again stunned out.
Oh, so this time he got punished finally after a long time. He again got punished. That's actually back-to-back 2 deaths, right, for him. And once again, you can see without him, the game is not as aggressive as it is with him being available. So I think, Lafukabi, they're really wary of the fact that they should not engage, but that cannot be said. Same for Ashborn. He goes in with the boat and he wants to take down. You can see Fabian, but again, he had the dash available. So it's so far the goal lead, it really speaks in favor of Lafukabi. But once again, there's a stun onto Brusco. He got immobilized, but again, he will be able to get back out of the danger zone. But again, Debbie, you saw the items, right? It still seems so grim for Hummingbird, but look at Zozo this time to get another abyssal arrow connected, but he gets immobilized from the Xavier. But again, there's Brusco going in. I think they should disengage. The Lord is just a few seconds away. They should prioritize that instead.
interestingly enough, Lynch onto this Fredrin has opted to go for the brute force first, but oh my goodness, that's a lot of damage!
A lot of damage indeed, but the fight does not stop there. You can see Brusco this time in a tough spot. Still survives with the help of the revitalized Lapu Lapu. Cannot take him down. There is the AOG, but again a bit too far away from the targets. The sun does connect. Zozo wants to go in. He actually goes in under the inhibited turret and he gets the punishment done. And with so low HP bars, they still did not get punished. Lafkabi, the goal lead, is definitely making things worse for Hummingbird right now as of we speak.
Yeah, this is gonna be actually bad for them because Kel onto Nathan has already gotten the Holy Crystal, which is one of the most important items that he can get, and this is the third item already. So one entropy, and the frontliners will be bursted down like paper, especially the Fredrin here. Linz, he opted to go for the brute force, instead of going for the Radiant. He has been bullied quite a lot by Jojo and even the Nathan as well, but another stun.
Another stun, but this time Zozo will be the one to take him to be the first taken down. But two members instantly been taken down by the side of Rafukabi and make it the third one. Double kill for this Nathan, right? Nathan, of course. And Kel is on a killing spree, but look at the HP for the Xavier. He's pretty low. The head does not connect. But the Lord is marching down here, Debbie. Will this be an end? Is the question, right? Because the members are not really available. But look at the balls damage coming in, and that's a wipeout. And Lafukabi, they get a score back for themselves.
Yeah, absolute dominance coming through from the side of Lafugabi here. They do have a lot of scaling heroes, but they were able to end the game in 10 minutes, which is very, very formidable, I would say. And of course, Kel onto this Nathan, he's secured. He already gotten the Holy Crystal before the 10 minutes of this game. This definitely shows that they have a lot of gold accumulated already, and they have the free farm on anything that they can want in this world. So, everything goes wrong for Hummingbird into the draft just because of the the Fredrin pick that they had. They did not really have the ways to try to kite around the Yi Sun or even the Nathan. There's no answer for those picks coming through from the side of Lafukabi, and of course not to forget Jojo onto the Selena was able to get the early game pressure. He was able to have the control onto the map alongside Brusco, who was all roly-poly all over the map, and you will know how the game was going on since the start of this game, because Selena, when he does not have the early game, he falls down quite a lot. But then in this particular game, Jojo was able to play the Selena like it was supposed to be playing. So it was such a pure dominance coming through for the side of Lafukabi, and I feel like Hummingbird need to have an answer to the picks coming through from Lafukabi, and of course they need to step up into the drafting just a little bit,
Yeah, I think, like you mentioned, a bit of changes can definitely help them, win out a lot of fights, a lot of neutral objective, and also I think they can hold on to the early game, with which they should be able to sustain the lead game at the same time. But again, it all comes down to this last game, right? The best of three. Both the teams have 1 point each. Lafakabi, they were in a disadvantageous position, but they got the situation under their control. But once again, this time there will be a side switch for both these teams, right? You can see Lafakabi this time getting the red side, whereas Hummingbird they will get the blue side, so they have the first pick. And this does change a lot of things, right, Debbie? They can
Yep.
prioritize some good heroes, but again, I think the bans will definitely speak a lot this time. I think there will be target bans. I was just about to say that, and look at that, Serena instantly gets banned. That is respect put onto Zozo, the one and only,
The one and
the
only.
person who got the nickname Direct Mid Cap, right?
I mean, if you want to say in his accent, it will be like direct mid gap, just putting it out there, but it can work, anything works. But yeah, what is not gonna be working is if they ban away the Selena or the Jason Sins too, because Hummingbird they do have the advantage to try to get the heroes, the good heroes for themselves. And even if they want to play the Fredrin, they could play it in a scenario where it's not going to be countered so hard by the side of Lafukabi. But of course, Lafukabi with consistency, they're going to be banning away the Kalea. Of course, the Kalea cannot be given away. It's such a very high pressure hero, and it's more of a hero that is easier to, but also give the heal. So it's kind of a pick off, right? It's also very good against
Yeah.
assassins, so you really want to take it away. But yeah, 1-1 is a no-brainer. You really remove 1-1 for the game most of the time. You really do not have to open it as well. But consistency is kind of like the key for for the side of Lafukabi. Yeah, they actually ban away the glue also. Maybe this time around they want to play the Lancelot. You know, they can keep the Lancelot here unless Hummingbird have a user of Lancelot.
Yeah, definitely. But last game we saw the composition from both these teams, right? With the lineups that they had, it was more so that Hummingbird they had a very dive composed lineup, whereas Lafukabi they had a very scaling lineup. Both were very different approach, but it all changed with the addition of the Selena and the Drake, right? With the pressure that Selena was able to put across the map, it definitely made things very different from how Hummingbird actually planned their mind. But this time they get their hands onto the YSS Sunshine, so they will instantly lock it down. But I think they have to trade it off with the Garut Kacha, which is a really good counter to the YSS, because you know why? Because he's able to dish out the equal damage that he intakes, right? But at the
Yeah.
same time, the Lancelot early pick, I really like that. That's what you're supposed to do. Both this S tier jungle should be locked in really early, so you get most
Yeah.
advantage before it gets banned in the second banning phase.
You know, one thing that I'm pretty sure about the Lancelot and the Yi Sun matchup is that the Lancelot is supposed to have a greater time to the early game, especially against the Yi Sun.
Mhm,
So most of the teams does not really give away the Lancelot when they wanna play the Yi Sun. But also there's a
mhm,
possibility that if they have the early game in a good hands for Hummingbird, for the Yi Sun in particular, they might eventually be able to play around the snowball, but still gonna be
mhm,
hard because the Lancelot is having a lot of dash. You can
Time and
dive into
tide
the
wait
into
for
your
no
backlines,
man.
whether you may be
North
a
girl.
mate, you may be a marksman, you're not going to be having the greatest time against a Lancelot. He can have two choices to go for. It can be either as a semi-tank build or even full damage build.
mhm,
I mean, and that can eventually be a threat that's posed from Lafukabi to Hummingbird. But
mhm.
I really like the pick coming from Martin here. He went for the Badang, which is
Badang.
a very good
Mhm.
counter to use when you are playing against those assassins, especially Lancelot. So I think he's gonna be very decisive on how he makes the plays so that the
Mhm.
Lancelot will not be able to dive in and dive out like he usually loves to do. But if this goes into the XP lane, I think the threat is gonna be a little bit lesser
Your
than before.
team is banning.
Absolutely. And like you mentioned, the build for the Lancelot, right? I personally like the Lancelot to be built semi-tank. That does give a lot of sustain when you wants to go into the fights and just pick off one person from the back line, right? You want to go for the third item, I think Queen's wings. So you actually get that sustain when you're even low HP, right? And a lot of people I've also seen they like to go for the brute force because that gives you more mobility and more damage at the same time, right? It depends from user to user, but I think the semi tank build is definitely the one to go for instead of full damage, because that kind of makes you a target pretty much during the entire of the game. And once again, this time both the teams have not picked their mid laner yet so far. We do see EXP slash mid like the roamer so far from both the teams, jungler 2 and marksman 2, pretty much same picks coming in
Team
from
is
both the
banning.
sides. Their side laners or their roamers are still a question mark, along with their mid, of course. So I think what will actually set the tempo for this game would be the mid control, just like how it was in the last game, right? And I think both the teams should balance it out, because Lancelot is an early game hero. They can go for a late game mage, whereas YSS is a late game hero. They should go for an early game mage. But what are the options for both these teams in the mid lane, though? Wait, Debbie, what do you think? Like, what might be the most viable choices for them to go for?
The night sky
I think they
tells
can still go for
all is
the
banning.
Farsight because the Farsight is still out there for grasp, and maybe Hummingbird can ban away the Farsight because this time around it's gonna be Lafukabi who's having the pick here. Okay, they
The
opt to go for the
southern
Kadita.
seas
The
are
Kadita was the
my
second best option that
domain.
they could go for if they give away the Farsight. But looking at the ban coming through for the side of Hummingbird, they look like they wanna play the Farsight for themselves, or even the Woozy Tian, or even the Kimi is still out there for grasp, but you really want to play three marksmen in one role? You really need an early game hero as well, so that can eventually work out too. If they want to go for the first one, they can be good here. But the thing is,
Mm-hmm.
for Lafukabi, they have this kind of component. They have this kind of style that they go for, that in which they go for the mate pick into the last one, and it kind of became shocking most of the time. They can pick away something that there's some hero that's very unorthodox or unconventional too. But okay, the Valier coming through from the side of Hummingbird against a Lancelot, against
Mhm.
a Granger. I'm not really the bigger fan of a Valier, because if you really want to pose a threat to the opponent, you just pick out the first eye, and
Mhm.
even though Lancelot is going to be a threat for you, you can really position yourself much better than the Valier, because the first does have a good mobility as well. But then again, the last pick is going to be coming through for the side of Lafukabi, Mr. Jojo. What is he going to go for?
Yeah, still a question, but I did ask for an early game
The
hero from
falling
the side of
stars
Hummingbird. I
guide
was
us
not
here.
expecting a Valir as I speak of, right? I'm not saying that's a bad hero. I will be very clear about it, but it's very, very vulnerable. When you actually set him up, it's very vulnerable and very easy to target for a lot of this assassins. But again, we were asking what hero would Zozo go for in this game, and I think that Nuvaria is such a no-brainer choice because you can constantly harass the Valir with the limited range that he has, and I think one of the biggest range heroes, at least in the mid lane, apart from the Farsa, I think the Novaria does amazingly good, right? And not only that, paired up with the grandeur, it increases the hitbox, more advantage for the team. So I feel it's a very complete draft coming in from the side of Lafkabi, whereas Hummingbird, they have a bit pieces and elements that do not layer too well. But if they
Mhm.
can layer it really well, I think they can get the maximum advantage out of it. But again, like in the last game we have talked about, right, Debbie, execution is the key for every match. So we gotta see it in the Land of Dawn.
Yeah, Land of Dawn is where we're going to be out witnessing the last clash for these two teams, who's going to be moving forward and who's going to be, knocked away into this round of 64, because we have so many rounds to come, right? Because we are going to be heading towards the Swiss states after this round of
Hmm.
64, because we're going to be having round of 32, a whole 32 rounds, and it's going to be Swiss states, and it's going to be all the teams playing here. But nevertheless, let's head into the Land of Dawn, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be the final match between Hummingbird and Lafukabi. One is going to be knocked out, and the other is going to be moving forward for the next mention round. So let's see what Lafukabi can pull up, or if Hummingbird can pull an upset and get this win.
And ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome to watch the MEX FEAI Grand Fest 1, presented to you by Don Desa Esports, and of course, it's also collaborated with Mobile 5v5, and alongside, Vista Games. So, huge shout out to them, and there's our sponsor, CK Hyundai. There is our, I think, we have our internet partner with Next Gen. And okay, before we speak all of that, Debbie, you can see a lot of skirmishes in the mid lane, right? Just for the Litho so far. But at the same time, right, we did talk about the early game. You can see the early game already being active by the Lancelot, going in for this quick steal, but the YS is pretty fast in clearing the jungle. Already has taken the red buff along with the purple, so they will be having an easy time so far, it seems, though. But again, the constant poke from the Novaria, I was, thinking that she might be able to steal a buff or two for sure in the early game.
What? That's a good 1v1 situation into the bot lane. Oh my goodness, Reaper taken down so very early on, as early as the 1 minute of this game by the Yu Zhong. And Yu Zhong is a very good hero to go against in the 1v1 situation, and you really don't have to worry about the ganks coming through, because you know where the teams are gonna be, and level 2 is where you're gonna be signing quite a lot. And Reaper doesn't really stand a chance against Martin in that scenario. But then again, a lot of pressure built up again by Jojo here, using the Novaria, giving out a lot of reason and a hit as well. There's going to be a lot of damage appearing, but then the turtle is going to be spawned. This is the first turtle, very important for the Yi Sun Sin, not that much important for the Lancelot, but still it's a very, very good start if he can steal it. But yeah, it's more important for the Yi Sun Sin here in this scenario. So Hummingbird, they really give away the set to Lafukabi, huh? Okay, this is actually going to be bad for them, but the Black Dragon is arriving into the Land of Dawn to you.
Yeah, still a 50-50, but it's gonna be won by Lich this time, and also the Ashborn being punished right away. Look at Banny with a good set, and 3 man's being taken down. There is the Astral Echo by Zozo, but a bit late to the party is gonna be Fabian, but he'll still be able to zone out Zozo on the mid lane. But there is the Star Shatter along with the Death Sonata hitting down the Valir, and he's a little low on HP. Should back away, recall to the base, but that was an amazing and a favorable fight for Hummingbird right at the first turtle lane.
Yeah, you could have thought that, you know, the better set was into the hands of Lafukabi, but you cannot forget a dragon who's already level 4 into that team fight, and we could see that he's got a lot of damage already into his hands. He's going for the War X. Okay, that's actually very good because you know on a Yuzhong you really do not want to be behind, and you do not really want to give away the Uranus a lead, and that's gonna be a worst case scenario for you most of the time. So Martin doing a very good job in trying to out rotate or out sustain and out damage the Uranus as of now, and even to the point that he got a kill onto his hands into the early stages. This is actually a good game for the start. I know, especially in the start for Hummingbird, but then again Lafukabi does have a lot of pressure built up for them. Again, top lane is going to be onto the focus. Look at that.
Oh, look at that. There's gonna be the Astral Echo along with the AOG. This time connects onto Lynch, and there is no way he can get out of the zone. That has been provided, but a lot of damage being pushed up onto those two members with the help of Badang, but there is no single kill available for team. I mean, but that's not gonna be same for team Lafukabi. They get one, but look at the backline. There's gonna be the Black Dragon going in, getting a double kill already, and so far a 2-for-1 trade, actually 2-for-2 trade with the YSS also being taken down. So no clear victor, but a lot of kill pressure already from both the teams right before the second turtle here, but they're not gonna stop anytime soon. You can see Debbie, right? This Death Sonatas connecting left and right, and the pressure is suddenly on the top lane. The Valir is out there, but the waves are still being pressured. A bit bold, chunked down by the Grandeur, but the turtle is still being taken, but both the jungle is actually not available, so I think they might have to stall a little bit longer. But look at the zoning coming in once again onto the Valir. He does not have that, you know, ultimate available, so he has to force the flicker out to get out. But again, a lot of damage being put up onto the Uranus. But again, there's the Astral Recall once again to get the position, and Star Shatter again connects. But again, the turtle this time, I think it's finally gonna be beginning. Both the teams are still at a 50-50, but look at the Black Dragon. He actually wants to go in for the zone. A lot of, you know, actually the marks being connected and the passive also being triggered, but it seems like its time has been done. Martin will get taken down. There's the AOG, does not connect properly, but again, there's a lot of damage this time. Manny does not survive. Double kill for Lynch. He goes in under the turret, uses that. Oh my god, Thorn Rose, and gets the Maniac already, and that's the early game. Lance this time Lafukabi is not really having a good game, but it's suddenly just shifted with the Lancelot getting a Maniac, and it's a Savage! I'm out of word. Ashbourne really showing his mechanics, the micro on this hero. Dude is going crazy. His hands are, you know, just itching for, you know, the gameplay to just carry his team in this game.
He's not letting his hands slip, man, and he's always getting the grip onto that phone that he's using right now, and there's a lot of dares coming through for him too, which means that he's going to be getting a lot of stacks. A lot of stacks means a lot of damage, so this is what exactly he's doing right now. Savage as early as 5 minutes of this game. A very, very great scenario for them. War X already secured, and he's still going for SMI tank. Will maybe go for the brute force, can also work, but AOZ onto the bottom lane.
AOG plus this, you know, Star Shadow this time connects on to Martin. He will get taken down, but there's the break. Oh my god. Fist break, fist crack, both being used, and instant punish onto the Uranus. He will get taken down, but again, a lot of shots connecting the sides this time, directly dropping on the heads of the Hummingbird members. But top lane is wide open. The first tier has already been taken down. The second tier is out of danger, but bot lane 2, first tier will be taken down. YSS. You can see Lynch a bit low on HP, but again, it's gonna be Ashbourne going in, getting a godlike. Man, this man, I don't know what just, you know, switched for him, but he's performing amazingly well on this Lancelot. But again, a bit too tight positioning would be for Bruce, who survives with the help of the Revitalize. But again, the Yuzong is trying to hunt him down, but look at the backline. It's gonna be 1v1. This time, Manny actually gets taken down by Kel, but again, the backline, Martin, 2-3 members being taken down from the side of Hummingbird, and they're inhibited, not the inhibitors, but the second tier is a wide open down board. So I think a lot of advantage again being built up by Lafukabi, but this time Fabian 2 not in a good spot, does not have the flicker available, and will get instantly punished. Uranus gets the kill surprisingly, but again Lafukabi, they have just switched gears in this game.
Yeah, this is such a good start. It was such a good start for the side of Hummingbird, but then a lot of execution coming in from Lafukabi. Look at that dive going through from Ashbourne. He was able to get a lot of kills into his hands, and this guy is sitting on an 8-1 situation where he's not gonna be, you know, dying anytime soon, because he's going for the samurai tank build with a lot of damage already into his hands as well. A lot of gold lead for the side of Lafukabi. This is a 6k gold lead into their hands, and it's not even 10 minutes of this game. 7 minutes is the calling, and they do have a lot of farm into the hands of Kel too. But Martin, who has been performing quite a lot, oh my goodness, that knife.
My goodness, Debbie. I think with this
Yeah.
advantage, it's pretty easy to take down even the tankier members, right? And that's right before the third turtle. So I think there is very little that Hummingbird can do right now, and they just need to accumulate more gold, more farm for their members. They need to get the items for themselves because the damage is definitely scaling really fast, really scarily for the side of Lafkabi, and they're really taking advantage of that. You can see they're putting constant pressures, right? All the second tier turrets have been taken down, and at this point, the inhibitors are in danger. And you can see Lafukabi, they did a very great thing. They did not take the third turtle. They wait for the Lord actually, and I think this might be an early end with the given the lead that they have. Things look pretty dire.
They ended the game in 10 minutes into the previous one, so this time around they might eventually be able to end it in the same timer here because they went and go for the Lord too. A lot of damage built away into the hands of the side of the of Lafukabi here because especially the Lancelot, he got the War Axe and he's got a lot of damage already onto that one item in the brute force. Yeah, he went for that too. But this is a Mighty build and he may eventually go for the Endless Battle too. Yeah, there we go. 2 damage under his hands. Though definitely a very, very high damage is gonna be he's gonna be dealing into the backlines most of the time, and they are actually preparing for the arrival of this Lord too. They're sinking onto those minions and they can eventually take down the Holy Blessing here, which can eventually be a green light for them to go in. Look at that S1, he's going in.
Ash was going in, but he will not get the final hit. But though Fabian's flicker has been already faded out, so this might be a very vulnerable marksman from the side of Hummingbird. But look at the zoning coming in from the Uranus. They are really going in with the AOG2 connects this time. A lot of damage, but there's the fist crack as well as the fist break from the Batang. This is on the members out, but it's going to be gunned down by Kel. And they're really going in, but it's going to be Uranus. Reaper gets punished, but it's the Black Dragon along with the Lancelot gets the Lynch, the Hyper taken down, and the base is wide open along with the inhibitors being taken down from the mid and the top bot lane. And the HP bars are dropping really low. The base is at a danger for not Lafukabi, but for Hummingbird, and it's gonna be another kill, 2 kills, and just 4 members being taken down, and that's the game being secured for Lafukabi as they roar into the next round of the round of 32.
Yeah, round of 32 is where they are eyeing the game for, and this is exactly what they did. 10 minutes, this is exactly 10.1 minutes of this game. They are ending this with a domination, pure domination coming through from them. Whether it may be the draft or the execution, they were in par with the meta, and this is exactly what you really want to see on a hero like a Lancelot or even the Grandeur here. Despite having 0 deaths and just 3 kills, I would say, Asmore has been able to perform so well. Even Kel was there, but he got a lot of damage too. But then again, it was Asborn who turned the tides of the team. Of course, the early game was a little bit shaky for them. We could see into the stats too, because it was actually, Hummingbird who had the better setup, who had that early game just because of the little win that they had into the XP side. Yeah, this is an XP kind of meta, yeah, so it's bound to happen. But Martin, he couldn't do anything into the later part of this game because he kind of fell off a bit. And of course, there's always a Lancelot with the sings always diving into the back guys, taking onto your face. And what can you do when you are such a very squishy heroes onto your backlines? That's a high damage assassin diving into your face. That's not much you can do to save the team as well. So yeah, unfortunate for the side of Hummingbird, they couldn't come to terms with the fact that they cannot defeat Lafukabi. But then again, Lafukabi, they are a team already well known. So Hummingbird, I feel like they cannot lose hope because they do still have ways to play this game for a longer time. So just not in this tournament because they got knocked out by Lafukabi.
Definitely true. I feel there's still time for them to actually build their synergy a little bit, right? The chemistry is a bit lacking, I could say, and the draft could be a bit better because I do think there's a lot of heroes in their lineup or the composition that can be swapped up for a better pick. But again, I think there's still time for them to develop. There's still time for them to actually reflect on that. It's just my personal opinion, of course, at the end of the day. So you guys are free to just have a different opinion of your own. But again, I would say one thing, Debbie. We did see the Lancelot going crazy, frenzy inside the turrets, under the base even for the side of Lafukabi, right? But I feel the unsung hero in that game was definitely Zozo with the Astral Echo. But he was completely giving every time the advantage to his team, right? With the extended hitbox range, they were really able to go in and get the kills pretty much easily. Had it not been the extra range, I think things could have been a bit different for sure. But again, I think every person from the lineup definitely performed so well, right? And at the end of the day, a win is a win, no matter who carries you. So I think congratulations to Team Lafu Kavi, of course. So they will be moving to the next round. However, this is not the end of the night yet, but we have another game that's gonna be played really, really soon. So don't go anywhere, guys. You need to stay tuned. But once again, I would like to remind you guys that you're watching MOBA 5v5 MEA x FEI Grand Fest 1. This is round of the 32. It's round of 64. We are yet to get to the 32. So this is best of 3, guys. And we are, of course, in collaboration with Dante Say Esports. And we are powered by Vista, MOBA 5v5, of course. Sponsored by CK Hyundai, and our internet partner is Next Gen. So huge shout out to them, huge thanks to them. And of course, this Grand Fest is not only about MOBA, it's also about other different games that you can, browse through, you can, watch for sure. And we will be, sharing more information about that too. So you need to be, active on our social sites, social medias as well, right? The Instagram especially, because we do put a lot of updates out there. So keep an eye out there so you do not miss out on the information, on the vital information that have been given. So you might be able to play a good part or even register your team in those tournaments. But again, at the same time, I think with the end of this game, Debbie, right, we need to go for a short break to rejuvenate ourselves, to just rehydrate ourselves before we go for the last game of the night, another best of 3 series of waiting for you guys. So do stay tuned, and we will be back in a moment's spree.
Hello guys, we're back again for the second match of today. This is another best of 3 series and we are gonna be having 2 teams and only one will be qualifying to move to the next round. Of course, we have the teams which might eventually be familiar for you guys. Grand Ast will be going against a team GAC and who knows what they can do in this kind of matchup. But yeah, we're gonna be jumping straight into the drafting phase. But before that, I'm gonna be introducing you with my co-caster here, of course, Sinru. As you can see into the picture, we have him with me now, and this is gonna be bringing you onto this casting. So let's go, Sinru. Grand S, they have the first pick here.
Debbie, you know what? The opening was amazing, right, by you. But you just missed out on tiny detail that Grand Est, just a few moments ago, they got a sponsor from the Emerald Cafe, right?
Oh,
one of the, you know, if you remember, if you just dig back to the past a little bit, you know, if you remember, you know, this MEA Season 1 LAN, it was held at Emerald Moria Cafe as well, Mizoram, right? So that's exact cafe, that Smart Cafe is actually sponsoring this Grand Est. So huge shout out to them for sure, right, for being the one who partnered with us. But again, this time we will have the land at a different place. So I think, you know, it might be another time that we will be going back to Emerald Cafe. But you guys can definitely visit that. It's not a shout out for them, but it's just a, you know, repayment that they helped us in the first season. I'm just kidding, guys. Don't mind me. I was not there in the first season. I'm just kidding. But again, back to the draft we go. But you know what, Debbie? I just saw one thing from both these games, right? The last game and the previous game and this one too. That you know, the squad stepsons, right? A lot of the members from their lineup have split up, right? You can see in this team too, in this match too, one of the members from Stepson is available, right? That is Mark. And even in the last game, if I was, yeah, Stepsons. Stepbro, sorry, it's not Stepson. Stepbro. I'm sorry.
I also have some players from Stepbros with me, so they are eventually splitting. You know, you never know. Maybe that they want to conquer, but you know, I do see a lot of familiar names here, you know, so I'm excited to see them going against each other. So let's see what they can do in this first game here, because as already mentioned, it's gonna be a best of 3. So in a best of 3 situation where it's a situation where you really wanna have that first game advantage, right? You really do not want to go for the streets most of the time and you know, give away that first game, because it kind of strengthen your mentality too. So let's see what they can do here, because the Yisensin and 2 Fishes been away alongside the Moskov. You know, teams has been sleeping on this hero, but maybe they have a possibility that they can counter this Moskov most of the time, so they give it away. But I really hate the Moskov, because into the later part of this game, you know, the Moskov does really well in comparison to other marksmen. I mean, the Natan can come into play, but the Natan does not have the self-build that Moskov have, so this hero is a very important one at that. But look at the Lancelot ban. 2 most important jungles are banned away by the side of Grand Est.
Yeah, and it does make sense, right? We did see the performance from the Lancelot. I think it was Ashbourne, right? Onto the Lancelot from the side of Lafukabi, getting a savage that too so easily. Like, he was just able to just zing, you know, the famous words from the Lancelot, right? And he was able to just, I think he was able to turn around the game at the same time, right? Completely making the other team feel the presence of that Lancelot alone. So I think this hero's presence itself is so threatening to a lot of picks that you want to get for your backline, right? So I think banning it out might be the perfect choice for Emerald Grand Est. However, they have the first pick at the same time, and I feel they could have actually gone for the YSs, perhaps. Shouldn't have banned it, but they're just flexing around a few heroes. And if the Angela is picked, I think you might be very happy. I'm just kidding. You're a boys girl, so you would like the chose and all. You know, the Kachas to be picked. But again, at the same time, right, a lot of heroes actually are open for both these teams to go for. So what might be the most viable option for the first pick for Grand Est out here?
First pick, oh, Boxer is still out there for grasp. The Lapu is still there. I don't think they will go for the Angela first pick. Okay, Granger is a very solid option too. But the thing is, GAC can actually pick up the Iristel into the later parts, not here, because it can easily be countered, because the Hayabusa is still out for grasp, which can really do all this against this kind of marksman. So you really do not want to show it too. But okay, Gropt. Okay, this is a hero newly revamped and have a lot of CCs, and it can also be flex there. I say it can go into the XP2 most of the time, but yeah, and not most of the time, because lesser part of the time. Most of the time it goes into the room, so it can go into the room because he does have a lot of good clearance and a lot of obstacles that he can provide to the team too, that can eventually work out. But yeah, in a composition here, they want to go together with the Jushin, which can actually work out. This kind of force, not force, it can actually, for Grand Est, they can actually go for the Hayabusa now. And it can, yeah, it can really work here. The Hayabusa is gonna be good here because I don't really think they want to play the box together, and the box might not be a good choice. But okay, they went for the Fredrin. Man, why not play the assassins, man? Just play the assassins, dude, against against Zushin. But
Yeah,
nevertheless, it can actually work out, right? Because they do have a Franco right now.
but there's a lot of ways to cancel that Franco's ult at the same time, right? There's Zushin, there is the Grok with his guy, with his nature's barrier, as well as I think is also his ultimate, right? The feel this Franco might not have the best time in this match, but again, if played properly, I think if he goes for the Winter Crown as the first item, things might be different for sure. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of ways for this Franco to actually be viable in this game. However, the draft so far, we just see 3 picks have been done from Grand Est. There's going to be the R lot actually making way, so more ways for the Franco's ult to get cancelled out. And I think this is a really good front to back composition that is being picked up from the side of GSC, that is Government as well College, right? So I think they're doing so far so good, but again, the banning section is already right here.
Yeah. Arlott is a very good option here because, you really don't want to give the Arlott and the Fredrin combination, to Grand Est. So GSC actually know what they're doing here right now, and they are the one actually picking away the Arlott here, and especially into the XP. But the thing about Arlott is that he's kind of weak against certain heroes, and Grand Est are yet to pick away their XP laner too. So they can eventually pick out the hero that can go against the Arlott and out-rotate him most of the time. Can because still they have a lot of options. The Lapu Lapu is also out there, but they are okay. They are to be banning away the heroes. That's the alpha taken away. Very weird choice. Maybe there's a possibility that ZSC have a good alpha player into their side. That's highly likely. So maybe they are the one because that is also maybe that's the reason why they take away the alpha. But other than that, I don't see any choices. Maybe it is also a hero that can deal 2 damage and can play well against the Fredrin too. But there are a lot of options that they can counter the Fredrin because the Jushin is also still out there. Um,
Xbox, man.
what are the bands that can come through here? Mage?
Xbox?
No, not Mage. Marksman? Xbox?
Yeah, Xbox, I guess, because the Xbox could be a pretty viable option for a ban. It's very good against the Predator at the same time. So I do feel they can ban that hero, but I also feel that out here right now, Team GSC, they are trying to go for a Harith, probably a Irithel pick. So both the heroes are a very good option for the goal lane, and it also adds a more layer of damage to their existing draft. The Arlord, if built, damage can do really well because they have a utility in the mid lane, right? But the final ban is gonna be the 1-1, and oh my goodness, I just know one person right now who will be really happy to see this hero if it's being locked in, and I already can see a smiling face right now, Debbie. I don't know, I can just visualize it in my head. So
No way. No way they go for the Hanabi, right? I mean, still, Texas. Never mind. I'm joking. Against a Fredrin, nah. Against a Granger, absolutely not. So yeah, pick out the better choice, and it's gonna be the Irithel. Of course, they wanna play the Irithel against the Granger, and I feel like the Irithel is also a very, very appearing in a very good time here. You really don't wanna pick in the first 3 phases because yeah, it can get countered a lot. But okay, right now, of course, we are gonna be seeing an XP pick now as well as the mage. What's gonna be good here? Windfella. which one are you gonna be picking? Because Mage to go against the Jushin, I would say Farsight is a valid option. The Kimi also, but I would prefer the Farsight more than the Kimi. Or maybe I'm just a Farsight fanatic, and these the guys don't
I think,
want me to be a Farsight
yeah,
anytime
what do you think
soon.
about the Novaria? Novaria?
Novaria again? I don't know.
I think the Novaria can
Maybe
give extra range, maybe, but
Oh
it's
no!
not-
What?
Um,
Okay,
mm, mm, mm.
I'm
um,
disappointed.
I haven't seen the Cyclops perform so well, honestly. Like, it's a personal take, of course. Again, I've not seen the Cyclops perform so well against heroes like the Zushin because of the limited range. But again, it is also one of those heroes which likes to scale once we reach to the late game, right? After the items are locked, it does have a lot of sustain, a lot of damage. But I think this is not the best suited draft for the Cyclops because he's pretty vulnerable, just like the Wally, right? One-dimensional hero, single targeted, and pretty vulnerable. So I don't think so. Might be the best option to go for. But again, the Ruby does add a crowd control to the existing lineups. It can work, but ooh, the Hanzo might be a criminal move because this really, helps them to go for the backline much more easily, and they can also burst it down once they just use their flicker because the Cyclops does not have any dashes. The Grandeur does have a dash, but again, still is vulnerable, right? If an assassin tries to mark him.
I don't know, a very late game kind of composition for the mid lane here. It's very weird to say because this is a kind of meta where you wanna go for the early game into the early game control from the mid lane around the center of the map. You wanna play around that. But yeah, Jushin is a very valid choice, but I was pretty shocked to see the Cyclops appearing here now. But the last pick coming through from the side of GAC is actually very solid, I would say, because the Hanzo, there's no counter just yet for the Hanzo that can come through that has already been there from the Grand Est. They have a Fredrin, right? The Fredrin can't exactly dive into your backlines. He's more of a sitting duck just trying to soak up away the damages and then, yeah, be that tank for the team. But nevertheless, this is gonna be the first game, ladies and gentlemen. Let's head into the Land of Dawn, and we're gonna be seeing Grand Est Maria versus GAC, and this is a best of 3 series. And of course, we're gonna be seeing these two teams brawling out against each other to see who's gonna be qualifying for the next round. But the mid
Ooh.
laners, a lot of focus.
A lot of focus indeed, and you can see already the flickers being baited out from the Franco too. So this is the pressure of the Zushin, right? Really good gatekeeping hero, but again, she does not want to stop anytime soon. You can see again another hooks connect. This time the Zushin does not have a way out. She will get punished instantly because she did have the purify, but she could not use it on time. But again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Land of Dawn for the MEAX FEAI Grand Fest 1. Right now, we're watching the second game of the night between, like Debbie mentioned, Grand Est Maria versus GSC, and a lot of threatening presence already. And onto the castles deck, I'm gonna be Shinryu, and I'm joined by Debbie, of course, the one and only herself. And if you're here, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the stream because this is gonna be still a long series ahead of us. Both the teams, I think they're pretty much equally on par. As you can see, the presence for both these teams have been felt across the map. But at the same time, Debbie, like you mentioned, right, the Zushin is really strong at controlling the mid, but again, look at the bot lane. It's gonna be a bit engaged, but the flicker again being forced out. There's a lot of spells already being used up before the first turtle, right? So I feel, even though the draft not being very, I would say, orthodox draft, a bit, cheese picks coming in, but still the presence from both these teams have been felt thoroughly across the map, right?
Okay, that's a Hanzo just trying to dive in at the start of them, but there's sort of knockdown coming through from MES here. But yeah, they have to back away from Grand S. Oh, look at that though.
Look at that, Grandeur will be able to gun down the Irithel already. And that's man down for the side of GSC. So it's a bit early pick-off coming in for the gold laner, but an instant pick-off onto the mid lane. 1-for-1 trade both these teams, and the total is up too. So both the junglers need to make their way. You can see the Hanzo will be the first to go in, but Fredrin is not too far. But again, on the mid lane onto the Fredrin. Why? He's actually a bit low, not low, but he will actually lose a bit of HP bars. But he should be a-okay. But again, an engage onto the This our lord, he should be okay. Final slash being used, but there's also the Crimson Beacon baited out from the Sushin. They're still trying to take it on. A knock up by the Grok with ultimate of his, but again, there's another engage onto Joe. He's trying to survive. But look at the Grok, really being aggressive, but will get gunned down by VM. And so far, that's a 1-for-1 trade. Again, the turtle is wide open, but the HP bars are pretty low for GSC. Will they continue with this team fight is going to be the question. But again, this is the Granger going in. The final set is not connect, but a lot of zoning onto him. The Vengeance is still available, but it's going to be Wintela. Wintelia, right? Wintelia. We need to check that out. But again, Wintela, right? Being able to take down the Arlord. But there's gonna be 50-50, but actually Grok winning it out. Oh man, that's a wildcard entry, right?
That's a good one at that. MEA was the fight was actually so long that he just died and respawned back, and he was able to join the fight and get the turtle too. That's a very good lead coming through from the side of ZSC. Already a lot of fights that was happening all across the map, and of course when they do have a the Grok onto the side, which have a potential 3 sets onto his skills, onto his 3 skills in comparison to the Franco, he's able to perform so well. But look at that.
Look at that, indeed. Another quick pick off onto the goal lane at this time, and GSC, they're really looking dominant onto the jungle of Grand Est. And this is gonna be, I think, a purple of steel. Not really. Yeah, the Fredin was able to get it again. There's gonna be the bloody hunt, but it's just a wasted effort because he will get taken down. 4 members out there, actually 5 members out there from the side of GSC, and they're really playing as a unit. They move across. We go together, we eat together, we farm together, we kill together, one side of GAC together. So this is the power of friendship, right? For the government as well, call it so far.
Yeah, that's absolutely what they're doing. Silly is also being into the picture most of the time. The top lane is what they want to focus on, and of course, you want to play this well against when you are going against a Granger. You do not really want to give him all the stacks and all the, all the snowballs, but bot lane, that's a 1v1 situation. Mark getting taunted down. He does not have the soul, the retribution. Use a V. He might be able to get a kill. The taunt is out there, and there we go. The last hit coming through, and that's a 1v1 situation. But onto the mid side, Jokwa will be able to get a kill, but Winfella onto the run. What can he do here, Sunryu?
What can he do? He can just run, tiny legs, but still fast enough for him. And that's gonna be the Cyclops still surviving, but it seems like the jungler is down so far from GSC, and that's the one time he was isolated and got punished, right? So this is the lack of friendship power. So you need to be like Goku. You need to be always getting the power from your team, from your people. But again, there's something engagement on the bot lane. There's a hook connects all the way from the downtown, and Fredrin has to say hasta la vista as he gets taken down right before the turtle. And the turtle is already up. It's a 50-50 situation so far. Fredrin is making his way, but it seems like GSC will be able to get the Guardian's barrier. There's a final slash being used. The taunt to connect, and this time MS might be in a low position, very low on HP, but it's can see already the Grok actually goes in. The turtle will be won by Y from the side of Team Grand S, and they're really trying to hunt down the members from the side of GSC. They will be getting the kill onto Mark, onto that Hanzo, but look at the top end. The Grok is trying to run, and this is a Roamer versus Roamer battle. And nobody is a clear victor out there so far, but I think Franco definitely showed his presence, but there's not going to be a time for this Grok to just rest. As you can see, Grand Est are really being aggressive even under the second tier, in between of the second tier turret. So I think that's a really good move, but the Sky Piercer just picked up by the Granger here.
Skyfacer already built out, and he's 4 kills into his hands already, so this is definitely going to be a good start for the side of Grand S Maria. They did not really have the good start per se, but this is going to be a little bit of a comeback. Look at the traps coming in.
Ooh, the wild shards this time. The Ruby is punished though, and the jungler too, the goal laner is finally active from the side of GSC, and that's 2 quick kills coming in. But I don't think so there's much objective to convert, but look at the Hanzo onto the bot lane. He will be pushing that lane pretty easily, so without anybody available. But there's a stun connects onto the Mast, onto the Grok. He no longer has that, immunity from crowd control abilities, but he has a lot of sustain against physical damage, but not against the magic damage, so he needs to be careful. But I think with that bot as well as the top lane first tier turrets have been taken down, the mid is almost, I would say in a bit tight position. But look at the purple buff. It made a complete round across that obstacle out there on the mid lane turret. So Lord really wanted to say, he just said like, I'm tired of sitting here, I just want to take a big walk. But look at the final slash with the flicker combo actually connects this time. They want to go in on the turret, but it seems like first to be punished will be the Arnold, but they're still trying to force it on the turret, and this might not be a good call for GC. They get the knockoff with the wild charge, but still too late for the clock to flicker out, and he gets punished too, and they get the prize for being too aggressive under the turret, and that too at the right time because the turtle is up and Grand Est might just take it for themselves.
Yeah, Hanju is going to be the one starting onto this turtle, but then again, the mid lane might be onto the focus by the time of the AC. They really do want to have a little bit of comeback, but look at Mark diving in onto Ju. Does have the way to survive, but he does not have the soul as available just yet, so it's going to be delaying just a little bit for the turtle. And the worst thing is that, you know, he does not have the ways to try to climb back. He does not have the required HP bars and a V. Actually, they did not really secure into this turtle, so this is going to be the lot that you have to focus on. But the bot lane is onto the focus by the Irritel here. He is able to get, he's going to be able to get a lot of gold that is required. He's going to be needing the damage too, so that's definitely a good one at that. But mid lane.
Mid lane, there's going to be cunning down off the crop to his grave, and it seems like again the game shifted to the side of Grand as was the answer going in, but the HP bars are too much, and he cannot be able to take anybody down with him. So far, it's a 1-4-0 in the favor of Grant as the fight continues. There's a hook connects the Iron Hook onto the Arlon, and it's again a good night for him. The Crimson Beacon being beaten out. The stun connects on Solution. The final hit does not connect, but they go HP on the Grandeur. Not the Grandeur, actually, it's the two members. Actually, it's everyone on triple kill for the Irritel. The hook connects, but it's just onto his dead, and Maniac for Mr. Dons as he is finally have taken things under control, and the Lords of Surya Devi, and there's nobody that can actually open up the map for the spread, and he just have to give it away inside of the GSC.
This is definitely going to be a free lot. What an entrance coming on from Deuce here. He was able to get a lot of kills, and he knows that the skills weren't available for Grand as Maria there, and he knows that when he goes in he's going to be getting a lot of kills, but that's going to be a blue buff secured, safely secured by V here with the retribution, but still they lost the Lord. The minions are pouring in, and they're going to be trying to get at least 2 turrets with this one Lord that they have right now. But the best thing for Grand S Maria is that this is not really an evolved Lord, so they can actually handle it. But for how long? Because this is the mark of a fat Irritel that we are seeing as of now, because just the melee is going to be feeding him as of now. And if we focus onto the builds as well, he got 3 builds, full builds already, and he's heading for the 3rd one. And I'm pretty sure he can go for the Great Dragon Spear too, because it's a very, very good and a solid choice to go for when you are on a new Irritel. But Drew here in trouble. Flicker baited away.
Flicker beat it away and does get one more kill. Godlike for him. The Irritel is really fed at this point. The Hanzo wanted to go in, but too much damage for him to sustain, and he cannot get the damage transferred onto anyone. But at the same time, Debbie, we can see that the Arlord, every time he has been trying to go in with the Flicker combo, it's not really working, right? He has been getting punished, and I think that is what is being the problem. They do have the Grog, but again, lack of damage might be the problem. Again, the Hanzo goes in, really gets chunked low, and he's not in a good position. They actually see him, and man, that was just a bad luck. The gun town this time against him. The Grandeur with the Death Sonata will just take him down, and I think that was a bit of overextension all by himself. And once again, this time the hook connects, but the Purify instantly being used up by Jokua, right? And once again, the Lord is marching on the bot lane, but they do not want to do anything about it. The Arlord once again getting punished. 1-for-1 trade so far. This is the wild change from the Grog. Flickered also being used. There's a lot of damage being placed onto him. Can he run? It's a question, but no double kill for him. VM will take him down, but the Irritel is still active out there, along with the Zushin. Does not have the Purify anymore available. This is taunt connects onto him. There's a gun. There's no gun, there's only magic damage available from the Ventela, but the Lord has been cleared out successfully. So Grand East, they can actually hold on to the inhibitors for a while longer, but at the same time, the goal lead that was there is still active, right? 3k in the favor of GAC. I think they did not lose too much despite giving away a lot of kills.
you know, the thing is, this is a game where you cannot really tell if one can win it out, because there's no domination here. There's a lot of back and forth movement coming out from both of these teams, and one thing you know that Grant and Maria are winning it, and another thing, okay, Mark is just trying to tease it out a little bit. But back to the point, another thing, GAC are actually the one winning out, but I so silly. It's just trying to get something out of a vision here into this as well bosses right there, but it's gonna be fine because they do not really have to engage on any kind of team fights yet, because they do have the Lord they should focus on. And most of the time, if you can see that the pressure coming in from GAC, especially onto the map, they have the advantage, so they will be able to get this Lord because they are securing all the bosses that's required for them. And there's no way Grand Est Maria can enter because they do not really have a big card control like the Grok does. They have a suppression, but V trying to get in.
Trying to get in, but takes a bit of damage, you know, and they will just try to hold on to that engage for a little bit longer. The Lord Dance is already there. Both the teams are trying to get the vision. There's a flicker as well as the bloody hunt with the Winter Crown, but look at the backline. There's gonna be Dust going in onto the Grandeur, Wind of Nature being used, but still more damage. But again, the backline, there's 2 kills being traded off for that entire zoning, with Hans trying to go in onto the Ruby. He's really low on HP, and a double kill secured by him. Joe will also get taken down, and it's just the 2 damage dealer completely zoned out, stripped of, you know, their HP bars, and forced to return to just clear the waves. And 5 members available for the side of Team GSC, and Government as well. College might just get their hand onto the second Lord here, Debbie, and this is going to be an enhanced Lord, right? This is no more a level 1 Lord, so this will come down crashing to your base crystal. Not base crystal, but the inhibitors for sure so far.
But you know, the thing is, it's still, you know, defendable by Grand Est, but GSC have to pull something out of it if they really want to end this game here. But looking at the build so far, the editor already got he got the full build, man. The Great Dragon Spear as well as the Malefic Gun too, which is gonna be a range plus penetration and the movement speed as well. And Editor just shines a lot with the movement speed if you give him along with spin too. So I think Grand Est Maria, they do have ways to try to cancel out those kills, those movement coming out from the Editor, but they have to be very mindful of which skills they're going to be using here, because even, you know, VM onto their Grandeur has got something, right? He's got a lot of damage already, he's got the stacks that he's required, but still he does not really have the spacing that they want to go for. But Lord marching down onto the bot lane, so what can they get out of this?
What can they get out of this? The inhibitor might at least, again, it stands a little bit of HP, but it's gonna be traded off. Really, I mean, taken down really soon. The top lane too, really low, but the minions are still marching down from the, you know, all the lanes actually. So far, you can see the Grog. There is the Guardian Barrier, but the top lane is completely negated, and it's gonna be taken down pretty easily by the minions. So far, it's gonna be still a lot of damage, but Joe gets taken down right off as I was speaking about it, and there's a lot of zoning coming in already. The mid lane is pretty much open. There's a wave already on the verge of being, you know, cleared, but it'll still be taking down the turret. There's a Praise Strat being used, but the hook connects onto the one target they were looking for, and a mega kill for VM, and suddenly it seems like the tides have been shifted. 2 members being taken down, and the Grandeur will go in for a double kill and might be getting a triple. The Maniac, I don't think so. And just like my friend just taught me, you know, in the Mizo language, Chaklutuk, this is gonna be that play from the side of Team Grand Est Maria as they're finally taking charge in this game.
Yeah, VM just clapping back, you know. It was your turn for, you know, he did really say it was your turn for Duz, but another hook coming through, but that's gonna be a purifier being used by Jokwa here. He will have to walk away because he's the only soul member surviving, and look at the members coming in. But okay, that's a kill coming out from Jokwa. That's an amazing one at that. But okay, that's definitely gonna be a little bit of a game coming out from Grand Est Maria. They did lose out onto the jungle, but they did trade it out with a lot of kills already into their hands. So this is the late game Cyclops, and of course the VM under the Genja we are talking about. But now this just made the game a little bit of a 50-50 situation, so which means that this slot is going to be very important. But the fact that GSC have all their inhibitors and one first tier turret left still, they might eventually be the one who can risk not taking this slot. But then again, they do have the ways to try to take it even. But you know, the Grandeur here, he's opting to go for the Wind Talker so that he will not be getting killed by Dust that quickly, but maybe a skirmishes here just before the Lord.
Yeah, just before the Lord, you can see the HP bar really low onto the member of the jungler actually. But again, this is a hook godlike for VM, and suddenly this shift is really favoring team Grand Est, and they will not be able to get the Lord. There's a clutch retribution from the side of GAC jungler. It's gonna be Mark taking that Lord with him down, but then look at the hook this time actually connects godlike for the Jokua. But again, 1-for-1 trade really quick, but again this is a 2-for-1 trade in overall, but the waves are crashing down, and I think Grand Est Maria, they need to clear the waves really quick. But again, this Granger is looking really strong, right? He's very strong as we speak of, and he's sitting at a 14-2 and 4 KD here, right, Debbie? And this person might be the hope for Grand Est Moria to still be able to hold on to this game, and he might be also the target. But again, the Lord is marching down from the mid lane, a lot of damage. There's the Crimson Beacon also used, and they were trying, and Jokua was trying to get the Lantern Flare onto the damage dealers, but not the range yet reached by him. But again, there's the waves crashing, and the Ruby's trying his best to clear it out, and they need to just back off before it just lowers the HP bar. But can they defend will be the question here, Debbie. The Lord is actually cleared out.
Lord actually cleared out, but this is gonna be a lot of minions pouring in. But building a little bit of time for the side of ZAC here. They for Grand Est, they have the base. They just have the base. ZSC does have a lot of inhibitors they can play around with still, so that might eventually be working out well for them. But yeah, still a very highly defendable Lord that's coming through for them too. But the next Lord is going to be very important for them. But the thing is, what can they do here? They need to contest this Lord, right? Oh, I thought I was lagging. Never mind, man. Because yeah, let's focus on the map here. Because a lot of buses are actually secured by ZAC, and they are actually staying a lot around this lot. They do have a whole lot of 50 seconds left for them to try to go for it, but look at the damage though. Dean was actually caught in the barrier, but even into the far lane side, there's a lot of slow pulls coming through for ZAC. So Grand Est Morea, they need to try to have an answer to this. They need to send someone up to try to clear it out, because they do not really want it to push it away. But interesting choice of build coming through for Windfella is that he went for the Sky Piercer on a Cyclops. Yeah, he does have a lot of damage already into his hands. No concentrated energy. That's very, very different, to say the least. But 80 stacks already into the hands of VM, which is going to be a very, very good one at that too. Okay, this Cyclops does not have the best stacks. But then again, the top lane is gonna have to be focused on by Grand Est Moria here. So they send out Azul here, which might actually be a green light for ZAC to try to start and burst these Lord, and which is exactly what they are doing right now. Dean, what can he do here?
What can he do? But again, a hook connects this time, right? But the zoning is really important, because you can see Grand Est Moria, they cannot go in for the contest, and that's going to be another Lord and more waves being built up. And at this point, without any inhibitors, Debbie, things look really, really dire, right? And like I was saying, the game is slipping out every time they're giving up this objective, especially the Lords. At this point, I think the defense might come at a very great cost, and they have to just go for an out-of-world play for this Lord defense for sure.
Yeah, this is gonna be very, very dire for them to try to hold this out. V just trying to hold out the Lord just a little bit so that they will be able to get a little gain or buy some time. But this is an evolved Lord, 18-minute Lord we are talking about, and look at the dive coming through.
Dive coming through, the Lord is at a healthy HP. There's gonna be the Hans locking that base down, but the play from both the goal laners is still making what's getting this game rolled longer. But double kill for Jokua, triple kill for him. Will he get a maniac? But the base is really low. Finally, after a long-standing battle, Grand Est Moria could not defend their base any longer. Without the inhibitors, it was really tough. And GSC, they will just get that first point in this best of the series here, Debbie.
Yeah, 21 minutes of this game, and they were able to perform so well with that too. This is actually amazing to say that.
we did not see a domination game like we did into the first one, right? This is a very, very 50-50 game. Both the marksmen performing so well, but Jokua onto this Zushin is getting the MVP. Of course, he was legendary when the game go late, and which means he got a lot of stack onto the Skyfisher too, which is kind of funny to say the least because they have he's the sole guy who got the sky piercer into his hand, so definitely all the kills might eventually be going into him too. And one thing for sure is that the Jushin is more of a hero that can be used as a sustain, but this guy dealing 30% damage onto a hero like that Jushin is definitely commendable too. But we cannot forget Grand S, the VM. He was performing so well. Unfortunate for them, they couldn't hold the game long enough for him to perform and have the spacing that he's requiring. And yeah, that's I don't think even the draft is a game here. It's more of how they're executing it, how it was also a 50-50, how they were back and forth, and there's nothing that they could do to try to defend that lord when it was already evolved and they have a 0 inhibitors left and just the base standing.
Absolutely, and I feel the game was really getting away from their hands as we speak. Mainly to the fact, there was a lot of ways for GSC to actually go into the team fights, right? They had a lot of ways to engage. At the same time, they had a lot of peel for them available, right? The Hanzo was really
Yeah.
difficult to mark, and even I would say the sustainability, or the way the Zushin was played is such a way that you can mark him down, but there are very less time that you can actually take him down, because she has a lot of ways to actually stop you from getting closer, right? With the help of a lantern flare, with the crimson beacon, she can reposition herself. And this game she had a purify, so the hooks, even though it had connected, it was not really easy for them to just mark her down. But I think the second match that we are looking at the screen, right, is already happening here for the series. Grand S, they will get the second pick this time. However, GSC, Government Eswal College, they have the first pick. So will things be different this time around? I think Grand Est Moria, they should have a better idea of how they should approach this game. But can they make enough changes in this game would be really important, right, Debbie? Because this is a do or die situation for them. If they get out, or they lose this match, they will get out of this tournament for just round of 64.
And you do not really want to see that, right? You want to see both of these two. We cannot have that, but yeah, only one will go into the next round. But I'm actually very surprised by the performance coming out from ZAC, especially Jokwa onto this onto that mage, onto the juice in here. So I'm kind of respecting what they can do here at this point. I'm kind of familiar with the way of Grand S, but not really for ZAC. So that's a very, very good game commentary for them. So I kind of want to see them move better here into the second game too. But Grand S needs to show something, needs to show what they can do with their lineup too. But looking at the bans coming too, this is a consistent ban coming from this side of ZAC. They are very consistent in banning away the Moskov as well as the Dita, as we can see onto that first game. But Grand S, they ban away the Grok here. They learned their lesson. No more Grok for you guys. So it was actually a very solid choice coming through for them, but the landslide is going to be banned away. Maybe this time around, GSC might want to pick up the Yishin too, because if they don't pick the Yishin and Grand S doesn't ban it too, it's going to be into the hands of Grand S, and I don't think Grand S really want to have that either, but they are kind of baiting out the presence of the Yishin, and I don't see any other assassins that's going to be good to go against the Yishin except the landslide. Of course, the Hayabusa might come in handy, but it's just the landslide is just better here.
Yeah, I do agree with you on that. I think you want to get a composition that can actually directly counter, or be really viable in the game, right? Yes, the Hayabusa can be a alternative, but I would say, given the fact the YSS is so strong in the current meta, they should just ban it away, and they did that too. So that's a good call coming in from the side of Grand Est Moria. But again, at the same time, last game we saw the composition for their team. It was really good, but when it came down to, actually re-engaging those team fights, they did not have too much luck. And I think one of the reasons why it was also happening was due to the fact that their mid was not really too strong, right? It was really single targeted. both their roamer as well as the mage was really single target heroes. So I think if they just change it up a little bit, maybe go for a set hero, and even if they go for a pick off hero, just get a maybe a mage that can deal damage to multiple targets at the same time. I think that can be really changing things a lot. But again, for the side of GAC, they do not want to change what's broken. They do not want to fix what's broken. They'll still go for the first pick as the Zushin. And I think they should just keep it like that way, because the Zushin was performing in that last game, right? Jokua was really doing well, and even in the last team fight we saw the presence of the Zushin thoroughly in that team fight, because the side of Grand S, they went for the tanky and beefy heroes, which actually is pretty melee, and due to that, it was very easy for the Zushin to just make them, displace them or control them.
And one thing I hate about the fact that Grand Est, pick up the Cyclops, not the Farsa against the Zushin, was also a very bad choice for them. So maybe this time around they are kind of ready to try to counter out the Zushin. No Farsa still. Okay, they really want to play out the Selena, which is actually gonna be good against the Jushin, but you cannot really go in with the Gatot Katra here. So early game. If they do not, for Windfella, he needs to have the power to try to counter around the map, because when you do not have that early game on the Selena, you kind of struggle a lot, and you really can't find the angles to try to throw the arrows most of the time, and you can become very predictable once the mid tower is gone. It's very bad for a Selena to play around with. So early game is going to be necessary for them. But then again, Joker performing so well onto this Jushin, like you mentioned, they are going to be picking it away. Very good choice. But this time around we'll be playing the Granger, not the Iritel. So the Iritel is still available for Grass for the side of Grand S, so they can pick up this hero in particular. But then again, GSC, they haven't picked up their jungler, right? So what jungler is going to be good against the Iritel and the Selena that can come through? Maybe, I'm considering a Fanny. I don't know if they play the Fanny though.
There are a few options. They can also go for something tanky. Not really too sure about the X-Borg though, but I think there are pretty good alternatives, right? The Suyo can perform a little bit okay-ish, but not the strongest in the current meta. But at the same time, there are a few options. If you ask me, the Alpha can work to some extent, but there's a lot of CC for the Alpha too, right? And at the same time, if this doesn't get a snowball in the early game, things might be kind of not working for their way. But again, the mage pick from the side of Grand Est is going to be a single target, but this time, this mage does have a lot of dashes. At the same time, it can give good information around the map with the abyssal traps, right? You can get the vision, you can get the rotation pretty much known where the enemies are. So I do feel that can really help them, and the scaling is really looking good so far with their draft. The front to back composition that they're going for, they're not really trying to gamble too much. At the same time, they're trying to make the most out of the bans that they have. They're banning away the tanky frontliners, which can put a bit of trouble. Like you mentioned the Zushin already being available out there might not give a very good time to the Garud Kasha, right? Because once he goes in, he's a pretty vulnerable target. He can be constantly picked up, dragged around, and just not really able to do much. And they have enough damage so far with the Granger. Once it gets the items, once it gets the stacks, he can actually punish. And there's more layering of the CC with the Arlot picks too. So I think so far it is looking good. At the same time, the rest of the two picks is going to be really important. It's going to set the tempo of the game.
The tempo of the game is going to be important for both of these teams right now. But Matilda banned away, very interesting, because they completely ignored the Matilda into the first game. So maybe there's some heroes that they want to play together with, so they cannot for CAC to pick out the Matilda. It can be invalid for them too. But then again, they have a lot of choices to go for here. But now GAC, what can they ban here? There's a lot of possibility to jungle ban. I don't think they're gonna be banning out the jungle here, because the only valid jungles are banned away. So okay, they stick to the XP bans. Fove is coming through.
Maybe as an assassin again, right, Debbie? The Hanzo can work, right?
Oh, Hanzo. But then again, Hanzo. I don't know about Hanzo against the Selena though. But yeah, it's kind of a 50-50, right? You attack the Selena, you don't get attacked. But if you completely forget the Selena just attacks you with your body, so it can actually work out. But you know, one thing I'm pretty sure is that Grand S, they have the Iritel, but they need someone to set up. The Gatot is not really kind of a setup, but a kind of a follow-up hero, so they need a very strong XP laner if the Gatot goes into the room.
Ooh.
Oh, Ling, what?
Okay.
I'm happy to see a Ling, but in this scenario,
I think there could have been a bit good options, but the lane kind of can get bullied in this game, right? Given the fact there's a lot of strong picks, and you know, when I play rank games, one of my friend constantly banned the our Alucard for some reason. He says that he's the meta. I don't know if he's just
Yeah,
joking
true.
or something, but like
It's
the
true.
Alucard can be a really good pick, but there's a lot of CC available. Even the Fanny is a good alternative, but I think both the heroes are really high mechanic and really uh, relies on the purple buff. So
What's your command?
well,
Oh,
it's
Fanny,
gonna
there
be
we
that.
go.
So finally, we're gonna get to see some high mechanic heroes onto the jungle position. So this is gonna be a really great match for sure. So I would say for the jungle, it is still 50-50 who gets more farm done first, who can get the snowball. But for the rest of the draft, I like the Kalea, a bit of more CC, more target prioritization, and if the Selena jumps in,
Yeah.
it can instantly be punished, right? So
Mhm.
it does work well. And for the side of Grand S, they go for the Badang. Not really too sure how to feel about that. I think they could have gone for a lock on skill for the Fanny, even for the Arlot, maybe a suppress kill, or even the Chow could have worked. But wow, what do you think about the Badang though?
I like it though. I like a Badang against a Fanny somehow. I'm not sure why, but most of the time, when there's a Badang against a Fanny, the Badang kind of always plays for the Fanny. So it can,
Mhm.
if Grand S does that, it can really work out. But Mark, I don't know how well he plays onto this Fanny. I'm just happy that he played the Fanny because the Fanny was a very very good choice here. The Selena cannot do much against the Fanny, especially when you are into a human form. And of course, Irital needs someone who can target him most of the time. So that Fanny was a very, very great option coming through from the side of ZAC. But yeah, we'll never know because we don't know how the micros are for these teams. But we'll be seeing now, ladies and gentlemen. Let's head into the line of dawn. This is gonna be the second match between ZAC and Emerald Grand S, but we don't know who's gonna be getting it because ZAC, they have 1 point. They are in the match point, and Grand S, they need to equalize these in order to survive, in order to move into the next round. So let's see what they can do here. It's actually a Badang roam scenario.
The Badang roam, I did think that would be the case. But again, mid lane, a lot of skirmishes already. You can see a lot of damage and even 2 flickers being baited out at the same time. So good resources being burned out from the side of Emerald Grand S this time. So GC, they are really off to a good start.
GSE, the early game is what they're going to be shining upon because, of course, this is a Fanny we're talking about, and Ling doesn't really have the best farm in comparison to other heroes this meta, so he might eventually fail quite a lot. But top lane, I saw Lily, yeah, Joe against Joe. This, most of the time, Arda does not really win against into the lane, so the help coming in from Joga might eventually help out. So this is definitely a good one. But okay, look at that.
Look at that, this being, Joe being brought back, forced to use the vengeance, but still survives for a bit longer, and at the same time, they will go for a disengage. The HP bars are pretty low, the Link just got his level 4, and the Fanny 2 down bot, so I think there's probably gonna be a gold lane gank as we speak of. You can see there's a positioning being made, the stun goes in onto Daz, but he should be a-okay so far, but the Badang will be able to spot the Fanny. But again, look at the back, and there's gonna be the lane going in under the turret, and there's gonna be the dash, but the Arlot still survives and actually turns it around. A good clutch play coming in, and that's gonna be the first blood to Debbie. What a match. But again,
Oh my god.
up top, the jungler will be able to punish the EXP laner from the side of Grand Est. So that's gonna be 2 kills already into the favor of Team GSC, and that right now you can see they're going for the turtle. So I think again, I'm gonna say, GAC, they are really off to a good start. At the same time, there's a bit of skirmish from both the teams. They're trying to, get more map vision, go map space, but a lot of abyssal traps actually connecting, but there's no follow-up yet so far. The Ling wants to go in for a 50-50, but it's gonna be the Fanny getting the red tree battle won. But again, Fanny goes in onto the Ling. There's gonna be the Tempest of Blade, but Ling pretty low on HP, goes with the Tempest of Blade, cannot survive, but at the same time there's a backline. Joe still trying to zone out the members. There's Abyssal Trap, pretty low on HP. Mark will get taken down. 1-for-1 trade. There's gonna be the Tsunami Slam, but it's just a moment away before Amos get taken down. And a 2-for-1 trade, this time in the favor of Emerald Grand S. So they're really doing good so far, but again the Abyssal Arrows as well as the traps connect, but there's a hesitation from the mid laner from the side of Emerald Grand S to go in. But I think both the teams are doing good so far, right, Debbie? There's no clear victor, but the goal is still maintained.
The goal is absolutely maintained. If Mark didn't fall down like that right there, it could have been good and the best case scenario for the early game. But yeah, he did fall down, so this is gonna be equalizer for the side of Emerald Grand Est here. So this is this might eventually be a slow game we're gonna be seeing as of now, but unless the Fanny gets the blue and tries to go rampant onto the backline most of the time, it can actually work out. But look at that stack coming through. Zokwa might be in trouble getting stunned away when Fella is gonna be able to get something out of it, but there's a dive coming through from B onto the backline. The Tempest of Blade will be used again, and there falls Zokwa, but onto the backline as well. Mark tried to get something out of Dean, but he will not be able to do so. No mana, no energy enough for him to drive back. But there's gonna be a one member falling down for the side of the AC, and that was the important member. So yeah, they couldn't really lose about that. But look at the builds coming through for both of these teams. They haven't been going for the full builds as yet, but Heptasis onto the hands of Mark will be eventually getting a lot of damage, but he's just trying to dive in. Look at that.
They're trying to dive in, and there's the punish available from Emerald Grand S. If they go too aggressive, it's going to be a punish problem. But again, there's going to be the dive coming in from the Selena. You can see Ventela trying to be active around the map, but Joe will get spotted by Jokwa. So far, it's just the mid lane being cleared out. The turtle has already spawned. This is going to be the second neutral objective on the map, and both the teams, they're trying to just maintain their position. They want the river control to be there, and we might just soon see a turtle dance of being getting there. But again, it's pretty low on HP. It's gonna be weak jungler from the side of Grand Est, so they should be just delaying this turtle a little bit. But there's a lot of zoning from the members of GSC. They're not giving any space, but again the Badang going in actually this time, but VM will get just punished, and this is the AOG onto the backline, but a lot of damage plays onto Dean as well as the VM, right? Not VM, actually it's gonna be Joe this time being taken down, and there's gonna be 3-4-0 trade. So far, it seems like once again GSC onto the driver's seat. They're getting most out of this team fight, and also this turtle, the second neutral objective.
Yeah, when you are on a lane, you really want to have that level lead as well and try to get the farms as much as possible. And when you don't, you want to play for the macro most of the time. And when you play the macro this early, you're going to be giving a lot of, taking away a lot of gold from your marksman. Again, it can be a downfall too. But still, Emerald Grand S, they are sticking to that, just trying to get out the reason. And okay, that was such a wasted Tempest of it for survival coming through from B here. He's not having the greatest time of his life on this lane, and of course, it is a lane we are talking about, but the Sky Pacer is secured by Duz, and he's gonna be having 2 items set already. But look at that, MEA, he's doing something here.
He's trying to do something, gets the knockup, but there's gonna be the AOG this time, connects on the 2 members, and the flicker being forced out from Amazon. And again, you can see there's gonna be the wall being connected as well as the fist crack onto the members of GSC, but they are still surviving. There's going to be the stun connecting the Abyssal Arrow as well as the Abyssal Trap. Ventela will be able to take down a mass because there's no way he can go out, but again there's another fist break onto the Fanny, still trying to go with the cables and survives, and Mark will be able to turn it around, and there's gonna be one member instantly taken down. 1-for-1 trade so far. The mid lane is wide open. There are ways. Fan is going in with the cables onto Dean, but he gets knocked up. He gets stunned, but he will take down Dean at the same time. Gets out too, and there's a quick pick off at the same time. Mid lane stands still for the side of Emerald Grand S, but the itemization this time, I think they're finally getting to it, Debbie.
Yeah, we might be seeing a War X Fanny this time around, the Fanny who wants to stay in the team fights and deals out a lot of damage also. Those kind of Fannies are, highly mechanic dependent Fannies. So there we go, the War X build is secured, and this is going to be giving him a little bit of a sustain here, but bot lane,
Ooh, bot lane. There's gonna be the flicker burned out from VM. He gets displaced by the Zushin, but look at the damage from the side of Team Emerald Grandes. There's the AOG to the backline. This is on the members out. There's the turret being taken down. The first tier turret already down, as well as the zoning still being done by the members. But up top, there's going to be 1v1 between both the junglers. And Fanny, without the blue buff, cannot win that at all. So the top lane is wide open, and so is the purple buff. But it seems like GSC, they will finally make their rotation to the mid lane. The turtle is up too, but there's another knock up onto VM. So he will be okay so far. The Tsunami Slam is still not available, but the Abyssal Trap onto the Arlord. So it's so silly. Will just get back from the position, but again, top lane will still defend. The turtle gets started off by the side of GSC. The jungler is not. Actually, it's Emerald Grand is actually starting it off, and they will be able to get it. GSC, they are not getting much vision done, or as well as getting much objectives on the map after that last team fight that this took. But again, there's going to be another knockup onto the Garutkacha. So Joe will be okay. The Tsunami Slam this time connects. Actually, it's not the Garutkacha, it's actually Dean this time. But again, there's going to be a quick pick off on the Dean. He will get taken down. There's a low HP Garutkacha. Joe will get punished. Does still on the low HP, survives for a little bit longer. But how long can he survive is going to be the question. He finally gets taken down by Vintela, and Vintela too will get punished. And Debbie, that's a lot of skirmish if you ask me, and bot lane will just get taken down at the same time because VM just decided not to take participation in the team fight, just push instead. So that's a good call for him. But again, the purple buff this time being focused on. You can see the Ling will be able to get his hand onto it, right? Yes, he did get the retribution on point, but so far I think Emerald Grand Est, they are on the losing end because you can see they're not really having the best of the time.
Yeah, not the best time again as well, because it's kind of weird to see that VM is actually going for the Malefic Gun into the second build. He could have gone for the Berserkers and go for the Malefic Gun a little later, so that he'll be able to deal the damage and have the range as well, because the range is not the most important right now. You're gonna be needing that damage first. But yeah, I feel like Grand S did a little bit of a comeback that they did, because they did equalize onto the goal just a little 100 goals ahead behind from ZAC, so kind of good. But then again, the Granger is also actually absolutely farm, but the top lane Mark might eventually be in trouble. Does have the cables to survive. He does not have the blue buff sets yet, but look at the sets coming through. Winfella might be in trouble, but he does have to walk away. There's no way they'll be able to start this fight so chaotically. Look at that.
Yes, look at that. Once again, there's a lot of chaos, but amidst that chaos is going to be a match going in with the Tsunami Slam bringing back one member. But look at the backline, there's going to be two members engaging on, but this low HP, we just get punished. So does Joe, and that's the damage available present from the side of GSC. They can instantly punish it down because they have the items locked in. And again, that is not the very great timing for the members to be taken down. The Lord is up. It's a 3v5 situation they have gotten themselves into. And so far, GSC, they're still looking in control of this game here, Debbie.
Yeah, GAC does have a lot of controls into this game, especially when you have a fan. You can play the macros just a little bit, but the Lord is already up, and look at him diving in, trying to get something out of it. The stun's coming through, and there's gonna be another Tsunami Stun being used with B. He will be able to get a kill, but Winfella might be in trouble here. One shot down, and Dust will be able to get double kills onto that skirmish that's happening right now. B trying to get into the picture, but the Tsunami Stun will be used again. The Tempest of Blade will be used too, and onto the backline, you see MEA being falling down into that mega kill for the side of Grander here again, but Dokwa will be falling down. A lot of casualty happening, but that's gonna be a wipe out coming through from the side of ZAC. They have two members available. They can dive into the mid lane. The Lord completely ignored, but they do have Dean coming into the picture back into the game, and he'll be able to try to defend his inhibitor.
Yeah, definitely. They are still holding on to the inhibitors, and I feel that is something they need to do at this point, right? Because they're not really so ahead of goal, nor they can go for the full 5v5 fights, because you can see the damage being so high onto the Granger. He's doing really good. 8-2-3 is the KD, and at the same time he has almost completed his build, and that's not going to be the same for the Irithel. She's still lacking items, just 2 items in, but again, there's another skirmish out there. So Silly will just be able to walk away from that incoming abyssal arrow, but again up to the top lane. The Ling is out there. I think he might just push that lane, but again that Lord dance might just start really soon. It's so City still trying to just sidestep the the stuns, but again, this pretty low on HP will be forced to recall. But again, VM just got punished out of nowhere, so this is not a good call, right? Because this might just let Team GSC just go for the Lord without much of a worry.
I think it's a kind of also weird to see a feather of heaven onto the hands of Jewel too, but never mind. And Dean trying to do something out here, but will not be able to because he's dealing a lot. He's taking a lot of damage from the Granger with the shots coming through. Does he's already got a lot of items and a lot of stacks already onto his hands. Maybe they're just trying to dive into the back lines, but look at that.
Look at that, there's going to be Tempest of Play, 1v1 between Dust as well as we, and he will take that kill. But again, backline Mark 2 will do the same, so both the junglers are tailing the gold laners. They're not really giving them too much time, but again, there's going to be outplay by Joku, this time getting taken down, but low on HP is going to be Dean as well, as there's no Tempest of Blade available for V, but he still gets walked out. But Joe this time still walking out, but VM is not going to be so, not VM, it's going to be Dean, not so lucky, but there's a lot of damage being placed, and there is going to be a mask getting taken down by the hands of V. The stun connects, and this time is so silly. There is no way he can go out. Only the jungler remains from the side of GSC. The last hope, the last standing. But I don't think so. He's gonna go in for the Lord contest, and this should be a comfortable Lord take. Even though the jungle is not available there, they have enough damage to take it pretty easily. So Emerald Grandest, they are still in this game. The Fanny actually goes in with the cables, taking a lot of damage, will be able to get down. Two members actually Mark with an outplay out there, and that two-win Taylor will be taking him down, and really too quick trade off. Vintilla will be taken down, so does and the kills are coming left and right. You can see Joker really going aggressive onto VM. The Purify already being used, but she's low on HP. There's going to be the Badang going in. Dean still trying to help his gold later survive, and yes, she will survive. VM holds on to his dear life for a bit longer, but the Lord is still marching down. Emerald Grandes, they still have the advantage here, Debbie.
Yeah, they do have the advantage, and they are trying to stay in this game fight as long as possible. But one thing I'm sure is that Drew is so squishy in comparison to the other teams, because he got the Feather of Heaven, which is actually a weird setup to see, because they are more trying to get into this tankier side and soak out the damage. But nevertheless, a lot of damage already into his hands, and especially onto the hands of Duz, onto this Granger. Unfortunate for him, he wasn't able to get the kill, 3 kills, which is necessary, but he's perfectly back on time too. But yeah, Berserker is already into the hands of the Ilital, so VM finally decides to get the Berserker and compare and together with the Windtalker too, which is a very a good choice if you want to really go for the clearance potential and the movement speed as well. So I think both the marksmen are comfortably farmed up, so if these two teams try to play those team fights in a favorable condition for them, where the marksmen have the free hits and play like a back and forth composition, they could eventually have a greater chance in winning. But if you let go of your marksman, the opponent marksman, most of the time, I don't think they're gonna be having that. And the thing is, Grand Est are the one actually having the better setups. But okay, bot lane.
Bot lane 1v1, we low on HP, uses the Tempest of Blade, but the Cut Throat is not really available, but it's still gonna be Mark taking V down. VM a bit late to the party, cannot take him down, but again, there's another skirmish. Dean is gonna get taken down. There's gonna be the clapback from the side of Team GSC. They're chasing the members down. I don't think this is a really good call for Joe to just stay hanging out there, and him being taken down is gonna be another problem. So far, the game is really into the favor of GSC and Emerald Grandest. They are really pushed back. The inhibitor is in danger to get taken down. Joko gets it down. 2 members against 4, 5 members. Duz will take him down. Mark is still available with the immortality. He still has his life, but the waves have been cleared. So VM still played that clutch defense all by himself. So there's still more time for this game to go on, and it's not a game over yet so far for the side of Emerald Grandest, as they hold onto their base as well as this game for a little bit longer. But the Lord is still not up here, Debbie, so I feel this is still a 50-50. The better team fight up to onto the next team fight, onto the next skirmish, might just give us the clear victor. But again, like you mentioned, there's a lot of peeling required for VM to actually deal the damage, right? He's the one being always marked by Mark in this game, so I think if they need to win this game, they need to stop Mark for sure, because he is the main threat at this moment as we speak of, right, for the side of Emerald Grandest. Whereas I think for the side of Team Grand Emerald for the time. So for the side of Team GSC, they do not have too much problem. But again, there will be another skirmish breaking out. There's going to be the AOG connect onto MS. He's pretty low on HP. Does not have the flicker already burned up, and he will get taken down. But the fight does not stop there. Debbie does it.
Oh my god, that's Jules just trying to get out of the picture, but those will be able to get the dead Snathas onto him. 1 kill down. Emerald Grand Est. That was a very weird scenario for them to lose out the members because the lore is already up and V does have the retribution, but they do not really have the better setup. Only the Badang is there available. He does not have to conceal, but look at the stuns coming through. VM just trying to get in. Look at the face crack coming in as well. Winfella will be able to get the kill onto It's So Silly. And that's 2 members down for the side of the AC, and it's gonna be a green light for the side of Emerald Grand S to start this Lord fight. But look at that, the stun, another one here. Trying to stun onto him, but get the kill, the Lord will be reset, and Mark has to go back into the picture because he does not have the XPs available, but the Lord is going to be blitzed down. V also getting very low, but he does have the immortality available. Who's going to be winning out of this retribution because Mark falling down will be able to get the retreat out, and the Lord will be secured. And he's just trying to get out to the backline as well, but Jokwa is going to be recalling down. That's going to be a 1v1 situation happening between both of the mazes. Winfella just trying to get something out of it, but it's going to be stunned down. The tsunami is available. The side of Grand S down, and the Lord is still into the advantage side for GAC. It's marching down into the mid lane, and they do have 3 members for its side. So what can they do here? Can they defend?
They should be able to clear it out. They have the jungler. They have actually all the members available except for Ventela, right? But again, they are not letting Joe get out of there. He's getting pinned up left and right, pushed across, slammed across, and finally taken down. But again, there's another skirmish. It's going to be Dean actually going in. There's a lot of damage. The Crimson Beacon being used. So is the Tempest of Blade. There's going to be a bit of stuns connecting, but not really for too long. Again, Dean out there. There's going to be the lane going for the backline. I missed a little bit low, but still survives that final dash. Helsing go on, but it's not going to be same for Isos as well as Joker. They will get taken down. The gunning down. It's coming on to V. Still has the immortality, but does not get the final hit. But Mark will go from a flankable position, gets the immortality down. No more Tempest of Blade, but he still has that sign. Oh my goodness, Mark, what are you made of? You just chased down the lane all the way from there, and this game is still going on at this point. The waves are still marching down, and again, I think this is gonna be a longer game stall for both these teams. And look at the mechanics from Mark. He's really flexing. He's feeling this game, man, here. And he should be. That is a Fanny who's doing really good here, Debbie.
Yeah, that's a Fanny right there, and it's been able to perform so well on it as well. You know, one different thing that I can see from V is that he went for the Queen's Wings into the later part because he does not have the immortality, which is definitely going to be a good one. You know, he can be able to survive, but he does have a lot of damage at that. You know, one thing I do notice about these two teams is that whenever they want to try to go for team fights, it's very, very chaotic. You do not really know who's going to be going into the backline, who's going to be going into the frontline most of the time. And yeah, all the members are already full build except Joe, which I believe he sold his item for the immortality too. But look at that stun coming in. Okay, they will not be able to get anything out of it because yeah, that's a maze we are talking about. But look at the position of both of these teams. They are just trying to go in. Look at that.
Oh, the final slice this time actually connects, but there's going to be a reverse clapback. The Sun doesn't connect onto the one member that they are looking for. A quick switch up onto Dust, but he will get taken down eventually. Chokwa 2. Dean will be there to take him down, but this is going to be a 1 for 2. Actually, 2 for 1 for 1 trade, right? V this time is not available. The Lord is out there. There's going to be a lot of recalls out there to just go back to the base so just they can regen their HP. But at the same time, a lot of waves are crashing and the advantage actually is still there. Actually, I thought, you know, Duz was taken down, but he still survives. I mean, I would say the mechanics coming from both these teams, right, is so on point this game, Debbie. I kid you not, right? At this point of the game, the death timers are so long, they do not want to get taken down because one miss and the match might just slip out of their hands. So again, the Lord is still out there 50-50. I don't think so because without the jungler, this is still, you know, more advantage to the side of GSC. But again, another stun connects. There's going to be the fist crack as well as the fist break onto the Fanny. He loses his immortality. Mark, can you survive? A mask is taken down. VM gets punished. So Silly will take him down, but Mark will also get punished by Joe. It's going to be a 2v1 on the backline. But again, around the behind all of that happening, it's going to be Duz taking him down. But he gets spotted by the whistle trap. It's going to be V going in for him, and the Tempest of Blade connect, but he cannot connect. The blade is the immortality taken down, but the low HP, but is finally V take him down. Duz had to lose his life at this point. Joko is the sole survivor alongside it's so silly. So the waves are crashing down from the mid lane, Debbie. This fights that are happening, we do not know where to put our eyes on, because both the map is so split by these junglers, right? They can reach any point that they want at any time.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is that Ju cannot really go in because that's a lot of damage coming out from Jokwa here. Look at the displacement coming in. It's gonna be taken very low. One hit and he's gonna be dead, falling down, but he does have the passive, but look at that, the Tempest of Blade will be used again. V is trying to get something out of it, but that's gonna be an ultimate wasted down because he's not able to get a kill of the Jogua. So this means that the Lord will be resetted once again. I don't know if resetted is a word, but I can say it, right? Reset once again. But immortality being born, just a lot of items switch away. Ice is there, look at that. It's a lot of items switch away. Even the Fanny here at this point is up to go for that rose gold. So look at the stuns coming in, look at Dean.
Yeah, it's on to Amass though, but it's really tanky, and Joko is trying to open up the map, and there's another stun incoming, but not really connecting onto anyone. So the Lord has been started. Again, the stun onto Amass. He's like a stun magnet at this point, right, Debbie? Because every time the stun goes in and it's going to be hit, but there's going to be another stun from It's So Silly. He's really taking in a bad position, but the Lord is there marking on, but there's going to be the AOG connects onto the backline. It's So Silly gets the mark where the Amass is going to take it down. Does actually falls down. It's So Silly 3-man down, and this is not looking a good fight for the side of Team GSC. Suddenly the game has shifted in the favor of Emerald Grand as they take down the Lord, and this is going to be one of this enhanced Lord which does come down crashing onto inhibitors, and with the inhibitor so low on the top lane, it's going to be really problematic situation. It seems like Mark actually got stuck, but he will not survive, although he was able to cable out. So it's just Joko out there, and we wants to go in, but this is gonna be the Crimson Beacon beat it out. The waves are still crashing in, and this is not really looking too good for Joko. He uses that Winter Crown as a last resort, but it's just a few moments away that he's just denying that inevitable, and we are finally moving to a third game. But it seems like the minions are not still there, so they're just waiting for it. But I think that this is a game over anyway. So after a long standing game, Debbie, we finally have a series draw for these two teams.
A serious draw indeed, and we're gonna be seeing the game number 3, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, I've predicted that because I'm sure these two teams know what they are doing. They are very, very familiar with each other and around how they play, in the way they are drafting as well. So yeah, this is the second game, and the first game was actually 24 minutes too. So this is also a 24-minute game. So we might eventually see a 30-minute game into the finals round. We'll never know because we're gonna be heading into the third game as well. But look at the MVP coming through from the side of Grand Est. It's actually BM. He went for a lot of item switch. He went for the second item, Malefic Gun, which I wasn't really a fan of because the Berserker was an absolutely necessary item for the second one. He did perform well when the Berserker was already onto his hand, and the ZDS, that's a late decision making from him, going for the Great Dragon Spear and selling away the the Wind of Nature when it was on cooldown was actually a very, very solid choice coming through for them as well. So yeah, I am gonna be saying that both these teams, they do not really have the problems with the draft, and even it's very commendable that Winfella onto this Selena has been landing the perfect stuns on the perfect members, stunning them, the Fanny of course, and Grander as well. It was a very, very good choice for them. He was like kind of a hero that can that made ways for the teams to go in, and Dean of course with the perfect set also. And I think Zoo this time around, we might eventually go for a different kind of tanky build, so that you'll be able to sustain quite a lot, because I don't think the Feather of Heaven was a good choice for him. Of course he does give the basic attacks, right, but you're gonna have to be tanky, man. You have your backliners who are very strong in the damages.
Absolutely. I mean, just like you, I was a bit skeptical about that item, Feather of Heavens, of course, because we don't typically see that being built on a Grid Kacha, right? Because he's not the hero that deals basic attack. And at the same time, I feel, a bit of item switch definitely could have make things much more easier in the early game. But despite the odds, despite, whatever oddies that they had faced in this game, grandest. They are still holding on to this game, but again, the night is not over because we still have another match to go for. So before we do that, Debbie, I think it's a well-deserved break for everyone right now because that was a really exhilarating game, right? So while
Yes,
we
it
just
was.
speak up, we'll just take a short break, guys. So don't go anywhere. We will be back in a heartbeat. So just stay tuned. Keep watching the MEA x FEAI Grand Fest 1, the round of 64 best of threes, and the last match is still due. So we will be back really soon. So see you in a while.
Right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. This is gonna be the third game that's gonna be played between Grand Est and GAC, and of course, we are into the finals of this best of three series. Two of these teams with one game over the head. So we're gonna be seeing who's gonna be coming out on top, and it's gonna be moving into the next round, and it's gonna be eliminated into this knockout stage. So without further ado, we'll be jumping into the draft. The drafting phase, and of course into the casting deck. It's gonna be me, Debbie, alongside me, who's gonna be joining me again, is gonna be Sinryu. Now we are back into the action, and Sinryu, what do you think your Grand S will do now?
Yes, I am sorry to join you again for the casting, Debbie. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Well, yeah, we will be back again, right? It's just you and me tonight, so I'm really grateful for that opportunity. Unlike you, who is not so happy. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Relax. I'm just pulling your leg, but I'm just, you need to hype it up more with me, because if I lack the energy, you need to pull it up. So that's how it's gonna be. But again, Debbie, without further ado, we'll be like heading right into the draft for the third game, right? We had a 10 minutes break, so I think everybody's regenerated. They're ready for this game as well. Both the teams, they're right away banning the heroes. That was a problem in the first game, right? We did see the Grok being available, and they do not want the same fate to be again there. So I feel this time around, both the teams, they are opting for a different way, different route, different, composition for sure. But again, the bans are not really looking too different from how it was for the last two games. But this time, the Kalea being banned away from the side of Team Grand S, because last game Amast did get that hero and he was performing really good, right? He was able to pick up the targets, and that was a problem for a lot of their members. So I think banning it off was the right choice. But this does open up a lot of heroes, and I think we might get to see the Lancelot or the YSs or even the 1-1 being open this game.
One thing I noticed, is that Viva la Revolution is back into the picture. I'm pretty sure I saw his name somewhere. Yeah, I think he was the Hayabusa player, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, he's the Hayabusa guy. Okay, nice to meet you, my guy. But then again, we can see a lot of bans like you already mentioned. The CC, the Kadita always taken away, the Kalea and the Gruk, of course, you cannot give it into a Miest again, into the hands of a Miest again. So it's a lot to, try to change out a substitute member for the game in between the games, so it worked really well. So I am pretty excited to see something like an assassin into the hands of GAC. We'll never know what we are gonna be seeing, because the Fanny was also working out well, but then again the Lancelot band and the Yi Sun band coming too. Very interesting choice coming out from Grand Est. They are the one actually banning out the Yi Sun when they have the first pick, so they kind of want to prioritize onto another hero that they want to use. And one thing to talk about is that in this best of three series, when you are going to the last and final game, you want to stick to your comfort. You want to stick to your heroes that you are really comfortable on, you are used to playing on, you are above the experimental stage. So this is going to be a do or die situation for both of these teams. So what will Grand S prioritize here? What is the hero that they want?
Still a question, right? Last game we did see a lot of aggression from both the teams, right? The junglers were really active around the map. They were really aggressive, and this time too, I think, like you mentioned, the comfort picks, it will come from the side of Grand Est. Last game they had the Garud Kacha, right? This time too, they will still stick to it. They do not want to change too much, but I would really like to see what changes would GSC are gonna make, because Amust, like you mentioned, his hero has been, he has been performing. I've seen his hero is banned this time around, but I think Isoseli will not let that Harlot go anytime soon, because this is the third game he's picking that hero, right? And really comfortable, and Jokua too, so they are still sticking to the comfort, like you mentioned, right? I feel not too many changes coming right away from the side of GAC so far.
Like I mentioned, right? It's just comfort, and to the end of the game, in the end of the day, you really want to stick to the heroes that you really want to use. So I feel like it's very understandable for Jakua to go for this Deucin the third time around. So he might be one of Ray's favorite player now, because he's been consistently using this hero and he's been good at it too. So I don't doubt the Deucin pick here. But Ju also sticking to the Gatot Gacha, which was banned to the first game, so it was actually open to the second game. They actually won on it too. So Winfella, what can you do here? another
Oh,
Selena.
Selena?
Of course, I like that Selena into that second game, right? Into the later part of this game, he was able to get a lot of perfects done.
Ooh.
So maybe you want to stick to it. So there we go.
Hey,
Another top 4
man,
into his name, VM.
Debbie, it was better than the Cyclops, right? I'll say it. I'll
Hey,
say it. It
no
was better than the
man.
Cyclops. It was better than the Cyclops at least. But yeah, I do like the
Yeah.
Selena for sure. It works. It works better. But the Moscow, what do you think against? I mean, there's a Belleric opened, right? So that can counter it out, right? There's a lot of
Uh-huh.
ways for the Belleric to counter this Moscow pick. But I think so. The Badang can be a really good steal this time, right? Last game we saw Dean actually going for that hero. This time, if they go for this pick, there's a lot of lock skills, right? They can
True,
actually
true,
just
true.
stun the members, and then Zushin can have a really easy time to pull them off.
I mean, it's amazing that, whenever there's a Badang available, it can actually be picked off, but still also being used as a flex. Because into the second game also, Dean was able to perform so well onto this Badang, and you do really have a good set onto your hands, and you kind of win out the game. Unfortunate for them, Mark is not available now, so Viva la Revolution. I really love saying this name. Never mind me.
Viva
So
la
they're gonna be
Revolution.
banning
Yeah.
Revolution. That's so French, so it's kind
Sion.
of tongue
Yeah, yeah.
twister a little bit. But okay, what can you ban here? A jungler. Jungler, you want to ban away a
1 1?
jungler? Oh, 1-1 is still out for grass.
I am
The
not the
1-1,
only
they
one
can deal
bound
with
by
the
these
1-1 with the
chains.
Arlot too. Or they can even pick away the Hayabusa because I like a
Yeah.
Hayabusa.
Hayabusa could be a good
Personal
option, but
choice.
Let's go.
there's a plenty of choice, right? I think they should ban the gold laner. Yes, they do at the same time, right? The Erythral,
Oh,
even the Grandeur could be a problem, right? And
yeah.
I think with the ban onto the Phoveus, it also opens up the Harith, right? For the side of at least GAC. So they do have a plenty of options to go for. But I do feel, the 1-1 could be a pretty good option because you know why? Because the Moscow can use the Spear of Misery to stun the member, stun the people. So with the second skill, the 1-1 can get out pretty easily. So I think that could be a viable option still so far. However, both the teams still need a jungler. So do you think they should just go for the assassin versus assassin matchup like in the last game, or should they just switch things up in this match?
I think it's still safe to say that they can go for the Granger, but I also like a Harrietsman because I think the only magic damage coming out from Jokoa might not be enough. But I mean, Jokoa has been playing so well onto this hero,
Yep.
so Granger ban. Okay, that's a valid choice. So they can pick away their jungle now, or just drag the jungle to the last pick so that they can try to counter it out and pick their marksman too. Okay, they will go for the 1-1, so
Yeah.
safe to say V here can go for the Ling again, but
Yeah.
also he can play the Fanny too if he does want to play the Fanny. But if they want to go for a safer choice, the Hayabusa can come through here because it can be good, a very good
Hayabusa is
hero
good.
against a 1-1. Yeah, 1-1 against and a Juicing, right? So
Yeah, juice in your
I think Hayabusa is the safest option, I would say. You cannot really go utility against a 1-1, no?
I think it can be a pretty much free target for the 1-1 to just unlock her
Yeah,
ultimate, right? The crossbow tank.
true.
So I think the assassin could be a very safer choice. Not even safer choice, the best viable choice for them
The only
at
choice.
this
Yeah,
point.
yeah,
Yeah, because the Fanny might be a bit too stretched because
yeah.
there's a Badang. So I think the Hayabusa could be the best because with the quad shadow he can just go in and go out. But Matilda,
I want a Fanny, bro.
and there's no more mark here, so there's no more mark. So you gotta put your bets onto Viva la Revolution. And okay,
Revolution! Nah, man.
okay. Hey, did he just change his name or what? Did the man just change? At least you're happy that your wish get fulfilled. So it's gonna be again an assassin versus assassin. But there is this time a Moskov available, right? So the Moskov can stop the Fanny, if not the 1-1. So I think
Only him,
this
right?
is still a skill matchup for sure, like in the last game.
True, skill matchup. It's just the micro decision makings, right? And I do really like that they just drag the last pick Fanny for the later part. But the thing is, these both teams, they have a lot of counters for each other. Like the Moskov can self-peel himself, and if the
Mhm.
Fanny dies in, he can have ways to survive because of the spirit of misery. So it
Yeah.
can also be considered a good option for them. But other than that, there's not a lot of crowd control that can stop the Fanny. But the thing is, you
Mm.
can't. They have the Hayabusa, right, for Grand Est, so he can dive in into the Jushin, but I would prefer if he dive in onto the one more. So
Mhm.
it's kind of countering each other just a little bit, so can really work out. So like you mentioned, it's execution what we're gonna be worried about because the draft is pretty much 50-50, I would say. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think this time around, GAC have to play for the mid game where the one
Yeah.
shines and
Mhm.
not drag the game to the later part where the Moskov can become a menace. But knowing these two teams, we might see a 20+ minute game again.
Absolutely. I don't even doubt that. You can put my coins, you
Yeah.
can put my cash on that thing. But at the same time, I feel, you know, there will be a lot of turn around this game too. But again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the third and the final match in this series between Emerald Grand Est onto the blue side and GSE onto the red. This is you're watching MEA x FEAI Grand Fest 1, the MOBA 5v5 tournament, of course. And right now you can watch this final game to the qualification into the round of 32. One of these teams will move on, the other team will get out. But onto the casters deck, onto the talent decks is going to be me, Shin Ryu, and I'm joined by, of course, the beautiful Debbie, who's going to be the voice for this game too. And yes, this should be a really decider game for both these teams, right, Debbie? So you can see
Yeah.
already a lot of skirmishes being built up, and both the teams, they are just, I think really, really hyped up for this game.
They are really hyped up, and I feel like the presence of the Matilda may eventually be the starter, a good starter for the side team, the Grand Est. But nevertheless, we're gonna be seeing a lot of skirmishes happening because this is an assassin versus assassin, and Windfeather that's just being caught a little bit out there. Look at the stuns coming through.
Ooh.
Okay.
1-1. Oh no! That's the early first blood, but again, there's going to be a switch up onto the Dean. This time, Fanny goes in, and Viva La will take him down. But again, the Hayabus are trying to be a bit active on the map, but will be just going back away. So again, quick 2 kills, but again, the Zushin this time gets turned up, but I don't think so. Ventela will be so lucky this time. He still survives for a little bit longer. Dashes, get the passive of the shield. Again, another Abyssal Arrow connects, but Jokwa will finally take him down. And that's 2 kills into the favor of Team GSD once again. The bot lane again being the contention for this both teams. You can see another skirmish. Will there be a retaliation from this Garud Kacha? He does not have the level 4 yet. There's no way for him to escape. He already uses skills. He still survives, but final hit from his Sicily will take him down. Hayabusa finally goes in, has the level 4, but there's a lot of HP onto his Sicily. The stun this time goes, but the Flicker will be helping him get out. The Quad Shadow does there, but there's a stun. Vengeance 2 being connected from the skill, and his Sicily will take down the Hayabusa, the turret being his best friend this time, helping it out. And this just gives the room for the side of GSC Jungler to take this turtle for no cost, no insurance, and no threat whatsoever.
One thing I'm actually worried about is the 1-1 falling down 2 times under 2 minutes of this game. Definitely not the best thing you really want to do. So yeah, that's 2 kills under the hands of BM already. So this has GAC. They need to answer to this place coming out from Moscow because you do not really want to give away the 2 kills into the hands of the Moscow most of the time against your own marksman too. So they have to focus onto the top lane. There's a set coming through from MIS, the AOG.
Ooh, the AOG goes in, but they're still doing good. There's a flicker from the Batang. He still survives. The Circling Eagle along with the Badang, actually not the Badang, the Gacha going in, but there's a lot of damage. There's going to be the unlocked. The passive is going to be unlocked, but 2, this is not going to be too much damage from the 1-1. 3 members, not 3, 2 members from the side of Team GSC gets taken down, but there's going to be 2 pretty much instant trade of the double kill for the Fanny onto the Moscow, who was doing pretty good so far, but not really anymore. V is trying to run, but can he survive? No, for not any longer. Killing spree for the Zushin, and Mr. Joker will be happy with that trade, and so is gonna be the rest of the team from the GSC. That the stun does connect, but there is no more follow-up. But look at the items here, Debbie.
Yeah, the items are build a set in because the thing is, the Hayabusa, we actually went going for the first build, Sky Piercer, not a really good choice. You really want to have one item before the Sky Piercer so that it will be able to make it work. But the thing is, their goal leader, VM have a little bit of a goal lead that we can see because 3 deaths down is not being, able to do anything about it. It is fine with the OZ.
Oh, good immune coming in from MEAS, but he still survives. And like, look at the rotation from the side of Team GSC. There's gonna be the Zushin going in with the Crimson Beacon as well as the Lantern Flare. But again, there's not too much happening because there's no more kills. But again, the turtle will be really up soon. But again, you can see a lot of rotation being made to the mid lane. But there's again this wall connect. There's gonna be the fist break onto the Matilda, but still survives. Dean doing so far too good, but it has to burn up that revitalize. It's not going to be available for this turtle take. So I think this should be an easy turtle take for the side of Team GSC, but however, this is still 50-50, right, Debbie?
Yeah, it's gonna be a 50-50 once Ju have the AOZ, but he doesn't have it just yet, so he's the only person that can turn it out. But there's gonna be a contest, might be a contest coming through, the arrow not landing, so Vivala Revolution will be able to get the turtle, look at the circling eagle being used onto the backlines as well. The Crimson Beacon will be used as well, AOZ will be connecting onto 2 members, that's gonna be a ton. Another stun coming in, Ace OD will be connecting onto the members, but there's gonna be one that will be able to be available onto the picture here. Dean will be falling down, 2 members down for the side of Team Grand S, but the top lane is gonna be focused on by VM because that's the only thing that he can do. The stun connecting Jokuao might be in trouble, but he have to walk away. He does have the members available for his side too.
And really too many skirmishes around the map. And again, another Abyssal Arrows does connect. And Amius is too tanky this time around, right? And I think it's a really good call from Ventela to not to go in. But again, another turn comes from the man. He's still low HP, but there's gonna be a quick turn around. And you can see with the help of that inbuilt Purify, he will be able to still walk out of the danger zone. But again, I would say this is too many skirmishes just for a matter of 5 minutes and 46 seconds. But again, top lane is going to be VM really in a tough spot. The Circling Eagle actually, not the Circling Eagle, the Guiding Wing actually brings him back. But there's going to be the AOG onto the backline. There's going to be Joko taking him down. But the all of rotation being made, and it seems like the fight can turn around to anyone's favor. It's going to be a turret destroyed down board. But again, it's so silly. Will not let Dean escape so easily. It's 2-4-0 trade in favor. Actually, with the turret down board, it's a 3-4-0 trade for sure in the favor of GSC, as they are really looking good. Take down the mid lane inhibitor too. Not a inhibitor, mid first hit turret too, but there's gonna be a stun connects as well. A kill from VM, and again another kill, but it's a quick turnaround from Daz as he takes down 2 more members. So really good, 2 quick fights, but I think this time the mid lane might be open.
The mid lane is definitely open, and the thing that I hate about the Hayabusa build is the first item Sky Piercer, which you don't really want to see. But Revolution, what he's trying to do is just trying to dive in onto Dean as well, but he does have the seal to try to get back into the safety zone. But yeah, the silence comes in. A lot of goal lead already into the hands of Dust, which is what I'm worried about, because the Moscow had a very, very good early game, and then the team of the AC comes in, diving in, bulldozing into him, sandwiching him most of the time, and able to get that lot of amount on advantage. But this is gonna be the third turtle slain by Viva La Revolution. I'm not sure who's gonna be the better Fanny, man, Mark or Viva La Revolution.
It's a battle.
Yeah.
It's a battle at this
right?
point. Yeah.
Same team, right? It's same team too. Oh my god. But nevertheless, they have a very, very good Fanny player, and I'm very excited for that. But the blue buff is going to be the contest. Look at the stun.
Oh, the stun connected, and it's going to be brought back. The Hayabusa are pretty low on HP, uses the quad shell to survive for a bit longer, but there's a lot of damage, a lot of revitalize, and a lot of skills being put down. But 2 members will be taken down again from the side of Team Emerald Grandis, but they're still trying to survive for a little longer. It's going to be the Hayabusa, not the Hayabusa, the Moscow really going aggressive. But how long can he survive? The Weakness Finder have already been taken out. Joe will taken down, and it's just for the trade for Amiest for 4 members, and I think this time it's going to be a lot of problems for the side of Grand S, because you can see, right, Debbie, they are not really having the best trade-off, and they're losing turrets too fast too.
the thing that can help them survive is the Flask of Oasis, and I feel like the Flask of Oasis is a little bit too late, and I blame it on the lose on the turtle most of the time, because on a Hayabusa you really want to have that level lead, especially when you are against another assassins. They're talking about the 1v1 situation, bot lane, V will be taken down, that's a level lead. Marks are not the marks. Fanny we are talking about, and this is gonna be giving them another advantage. SOD connecting, he takes it.
Wait, can actually stop. It's gonna be perfect. BF taking down the equal 2, but oh no, that's not looking too good. If your team Grand Eston once again will be taken down. Hayabusa make it 4, so is the second threat down for with the fully defense. This time, this is really one-sided here. Kind of the game here, Debbie. I can see, you know, this Fanny really enabling us to do a lot different from how it was for the last 2 games. No hate to Mark, but this Lucian is really, you know, fast rotation, which is not letting, you know, kind of have space, not even and like you mentioned, the Moscow was really doing good 3-0 to 5 and 0. So I would say the hope that they have on the Moscow is not going too well, and even the Hayabusa have been shut down completely with the not so favorite, you know, first item Sky Piercer for him. So I feel this is still not a so good game, but again does gets the shadow kill by, but there is no damage whatsoever. So this is the problem, right? If you trail behind on a Hayabusa, there's very less that you can do in those team fights, and even the pickoffs does not come through. But the Lord will come through from the side of Team GSC. What will Team do out there?
The thing is, you know, this is a lot of level lead already under the hands of Viva La Revolution. Under this Fanny here, the Lord is marching down to the bot lane. There's gonna be a lot of damage coming through, but there's no way they will be able to get nothing out of this, because there's gonna be a turret that's gonna be falling down. Look at the stun connecting as well. No face crack will be there just yet. The AOZ connecting onto the Lord as well. There's gonna be a 5-member stun down again. Look at the Fanny just trying to dive and trying to get a kill, but no kill so far. But Gola into the hands of the Warmongers will be able to get double kill onto his hands, and there's going to be another member falling down. The Lord is into the mid lane, but there's going to be a disciplined team coming in from ZAC. They will be walking away with 2 kills and then inhibitors, and they're trying to focus onto the mid side once again. The Holy Blessing will be popped too, but the Jokwa trying to do something out of this. Oh man, he's going to be caught around here. The Flicker does never survive, but there's going to be Revolution just trying to get a kill, but it's not going to be enough. But they're going to be able to trade down into the top lane turret here.
Yeah, that was good. That was a good distraction from Joker, right? He did buy enough time for them to take down the top lane turret. So I feel like that was a, you know, even though that was a dangerous position he had put himself into, he was really confident that he could get out of that place. So even the rotation from the jungler enabled them to, you know, actually just help him escape. But at the same, with just one Lord in the early game, this is too much value for the side of GSC. If you see, you know, their aggression is not really being answered back. There are times when some of the members actually going in, I mean, walking out with low HP, but look at the engage from Amius. He really going in aggressive. There's going to be the weakness finder still available. It's going to be actually unlocked, but the AOG used defensively just to survive is what is holding on, you know, this game for the side of the Emerald Grand S. But again, there's a lot of rotation onto the mid lane. The V starts crashing. There's going to be the Abyssal Trap next, but the mid lane inhibitor is really wide open. There's going to be the panic going in really low. Gets stunned up, gets taken down. Team gets a kill, but there are still waves crashing down from all the lanes. This could be a pretty much game over if Team GSC they push their luck, but I think so they might just want to respect the damage that can come out from the side of Team Emerald Grandest, and yes, they do. They should just take the safer choice. That's going to be the Lord. But again, the Hayabusa is saying that he has other plans. He goes in with the quad shadow, but the damage gets distributed, and he has to back out without any kills whatsoever. But again, another Abyssal Arrow goes in. The stun does not connect, but at the same time, I think the Lord is what the side of Team GSC might prioritize out here, Debbie.
Yeah, the Lord is gonna be onto the prior here, because GAC does have a lot of discipline out here. Because of course they do have a lot of sets coming through, but there's always a disengaged tool coming in from Zhu as well onto that Gatot Kaza, so they have to be also careful about that. And once they get this Lord, they will be able to march down onto this soul base. standing for Grand Est Emerald. So right now the Lord will be taken down by the side of ZAC. They are yet to even secure these inhibitors down. So Grand Est are not really performing well this time around, and it's already 30 minutes of this game, and we might eventually see a farm up Moscow. But then again, it's actually very, very hard because he's just level 13 when Dils is already level 15, which means the goal difference between them is gonna be very, very large, even though he have that early game lead. But look at that scenario. Lord is marching down to the mid lane. This might be a potential end.
Yeah, this might be the potential element again. There's the AOG used against the Lord, but there's a lot of damage being put up from the side of Team GAC. There are HP parts really dropping down low. One member will get taken down from the side of Team Emerald Grand Est, and they're still trying to defend. The base is wide open. The Lord has been cleared out, but the AOG, not the AOG, but the crossbow of Tank, before I could even finish, will finish this game actually. And it's going to be a 2-0 win for the side of Team GAC. Government College, what it was Government as well College. This Government as well College will get that final victory and a 2-0 victory after a long-standing battle for these two teams, right? And it's a well-played game, I would say, with the economy lead that they had, the goal lead that they had. I think this game, it was pretty much a swift walk for the side of Team GSC, right, compared to the last two games.
Yeah. I mean, it's true because we were actually excited to see another 20 minutes game. Even 30 minutes would have worked. But yeah, that's actually a very good one. First win was 1-2-1. Okay, there we go. We have a lot of games onto their hands, and there was actually a very well played coming in from the side of Team ZAC. I had a very high hope on Grand S because we have already known this team, but unfortunate for them, it was such a good game, well played by the side of ZAC. Of course, they have a chainsaw into their jungler, but they have an equally good skill onto the Fanny, so I'm very, very proud that they were able to win with the Fanny. Of course, Dils was also able to perform well onto that 1-1 to the early stages. He wasn't doing much, but there was a good cutback coming in from him, and I would not forget to mention Jokwa. The MVP of today, I would say, is gonna be him, man. Consistent onto this juicing. Even though there is a Hayabusa onto the other side, he hasn't been taken down even once. And 11 kills and a Sky Piercer means he's got already 80 stacks into the later part, and the legendary that he has been taking and picking away, it's just amazing. Of course, it was a team game, and we were able to see them performing so well, and I am really excited to see them into the next round because we know what they can do.
Absolutely, and I wish Ray was here to glaze him up, for Jokua, because it's his waifu at the end of the day, right, the Zushin. So, man, I feel they really played so well, right, Debbie, in this game. Not only in this game, but all the games across. So, I think after the long-standing victory, they deserve a good meal if they have not had their dinner yet, because it's almost gonna be 11 soon. But you know what, guys? It might be an end of the night for today's matches, but there are much more matches coming your way tomorrow and the day after. So I mean, I'm not really sure about tomorrow, but you will soon find out when the matches will be played. So do stay tuned for that. But at the same time, do keep an eye on the updates that will be following you guys. So at the end of the day, it's a game well played for these teams. We like to see good matches, and they delivered good matches. But also to all the lovely viewers who joined in, thank you for tuning in to the MEAX FEAI Grand Fest 1. You're watching the knockout stage in the round of the 64. This is like two more teams qualifying. Some games are played offline, so there will be teams that are also qualifying. We will be updating you guys about all that. But as a huge shout out, right, Debbie, to our sponsors. You can read them out on the screen, right? You can see them, our collaboration partner and all. Just give them a huge shout out, man.
I mean, I think they can see it. Never mind. In collaboration with Don TC, powered by Vista, and of course it's gonna be Vista most of the time. They provided the tournaments and the diamonds, of course, and sponsored by CK Hyundai. I'm pretty sure this is the first time I see a car. I mean, never mind. Internet partner is gonna be next gen. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this was your sponsor, and this was me and Senior all along since the start of this best of 3 series. We had only 2, but it was a fun match, right? Like already mentioned. So I think we're gonna be signing off now, right? Or what do you say?
Yes, it's about time we just sign off and call it a night, right, Debbie? Because
Yeah.
we have fought enough between us. It's like the rest of the team, they can fight among themselves for the rest of the matches. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for being part of this night with us. And thank you to huge shout out to Malsam for, streaming and as well as doing all the backhanded work for us. Without him, this tournament would really lack a lot of production and a lot of, manpower. So he is the sole man that really carries these things. But again, with that, me and Debbie will sign up for the night. Thank you for joining in, but don't forget to tune in tomorrow for these amazing matches to be continued, be played for this tournament, because it is not really over. And that is gonna be played soon, and the dates are out. Keep an eye for that. But for now, good night, guys, and take care for yourself.